had predicted. They were talking about a 6 percentage point lead over Syriza, the left-wing opposition. As it turns out, it was more than 20%. The official results will be taken to the presidential mansion. The Greek president, she will then invite Prime Minister Mitsotakis to go into coalition talks to try and form an administration.
A diplomatic row has broken out between Austria and its neighbour Hungary over the early release of several hundred prisoners. The Hungarian government has said it will release most of its convicted people traffickers, providing they leave the country within 3 days. Austria's foreign minister says this has sent the wrong signal and has summoned the Hungarian ambassador to discuss the issue. World News from the BBC.
Hello, this is The History Hour with Max Pearson, a selection of this week's witness history stories from the world.
Release aircraft from Seattle. They're getting better and faster at fixing the fastener issue. But, you know, if there is a prolonged delay, if it does run beyond kind of August, then, you know, you're going to see more of our growth moving from the first half of the year into the second half of the year. But I would be hopeful, barring some other shock, that, you know, we will be back on track by the autumn.
And what about fares over the coming 12 months? Talk to me about the sort of pricing decisions that you're having to make right now.
Yeah, well, we've grown huge market shares all across Europe. We've got a lot of airports very keen to get Ryanair capacity into the system. As always, we remain load active, yield passive, which means we'll price to fill the planes. But European aviation capacity is only running at about 90 to 95% of pre-COVID capacity. So while we're at 125% of where we were pre-COVID, the market hasn't caught up. At the same time, there's huge demand for travel. So the supply-demand narrative means that fares are up year on year, and we would anticipate that we will grow fares sufficiently to cover that extra billion that we have on the fuel bill, and then grow our profits modestly year on year. Fares into the summer are tracking ahead of where they were last year. We don't, as is always the case at this time of the year, Ian, have huge visibility into the second half of the year, so it's hard to know where fares will go, other than we will continue to fill the planes and price accordingly.
Some breaking news now, and in the last 20 minutes it's emerged that Meta, the owner of Facebook and Instagram, has been fined $1.3 billion by the European Union's privacy regulators for sending user information to the United States. That's according to the online edition of the Wall Street Journal. Joining me now is our correspondent, Matthew Thompson. Matthew, a huge fine this.
It's a record fine. It's the biggest fine ever levied for a breach of the GDPR regulations. So it shows the seriousness with which European regulators are taking this. In terms of the dispute itself, it's long running. In fact, it's been going on for the best part of a decade. Effectively, what Meta has done in breach of these GDPR regulations is it regularly transfers EU users' data back to America, where obviously lots of these big tech companies are based. And this piece of regulatory dispute, if you like, originated from a legal challenge from Austrian privacy campaigners who were concerned that EU citizens' data, when it was being shipped back, if you like, to the US, was potentially subject to the much more stringent surveillance of American intelligence agencies, the FBI, the CIA, and the like, and that was in breach potentially of EU data, which, as we know, is considerably stricter in terms of its protection of citizens' data than the US is at all. So this has been a long-running battle. The fine is one thing. Actually, potentially more damaging for Facebook is the fact that it's also been asked by the EU regulators to stop within 5 months this transfer of data from the EU to the US. Now, the first reason that's difficult is it's not altogether clear that that's technically possible, the way Facebook's business is set up. So that's going to require some major restructuring. The second thing is Facebook itself, or Meta rather, we should be calling it, admitted in a call with investors last month that if it was asked to pause this data sharing, it could cost it something in the region of 10% of its annual advertising revenue. Now, the fine is in the region of, as you say, $1.3 billion, £1 billion, but 10% of its global advertising revenue is in the multiple billions. So actually, in terms of the hit to the business, this could be significantly more costly to Meta. What they've said in a statement, though, is they've pointed to a agreement which is in the offing between US and EU authorities on data sharing. Now, if that agreement, which is in advanced stages, we understand, if that were to be concluded, well, all of this would go away effectively. However, there is a big caveat to that, which is that there are potentially likely to be significant challenges to this legislation, possibly in the European courts. So it's by no means a foregone conclusion that any agreement struck between the EU and the US would make Meta's problems go away in this instance.
Okay, thanks, Matthew. Asking prices for properties coming to market have hit an all-time high this month. That's according to Rightmove, the property portal. It says the average price of a property coming to the market this month rose by 1.8% to hit £372,894. That's the biggest monthly increase seen so far this year, and it compares with the average increase of 1% that's historically been seen in May. Well, joining me now for more, and this is Tim Bannister. He's Rightmove's Director of Property Science. Tim, welcome to you. I mean, we often get a spring bounce in activity, but this is quite unexpectedly strong.
That's right. It's a little bit higher than we normally would expect at this time of year, 1.8%, when on average they do go up at this time of year, but about 1%. And I think it reflects, that building of confidence we've seen over the course of the year, leading on from what is 7 months ago now, that the mini budget and the turmoil of the last sort of 3 months of 2022. So we've seen, people at that point, they stepped back. We saw from the beginning of this year, they started to come back looking for their next home. And that's given some confidence. I think we've seen mortgage rates stabilize, certainly at a lower rate than they were back in October last year. And that's also contributed to this. And that's been reflected in a little bit of confidence, and prices, as I say, up 1.8%. They're actually at a record level at this point.
This will surprise people given the speed at which interest rates have risen.
Yeah, I think, I was thinking about this earlier, we've had 17 months now of interest rates going up. So we're well into that cycle of interest rates going up, with 7 months to say post the sort of turmoil of the mini budget. So I think it's sort of filtered through. We've started to see, we have seen mortgage rates, in fact, come down, despite the fact that the Bank of England rate has been going up. So compared to October last year, the mortgage rates are now 4.56 for a 15% deposit mortgage. At that point last year, they were at sort of 5.89, that sort of region. So they've been coming down. They've obviously been stabilizing a bit, which I think is the key, albeit at rates which are higher than they were a year ago. But they've been stabilizing in the last month, two months. I think that's sort of given a little bit of confidence that people can now plan. They understand what to expect. Obviously, things can change. There are many twists and turns probably for the rest of this year. Inflation still remains high, but it's expected to come down. We'll wait and see whether that comes to pass. So there's still some twists and turns, but there's a little bit more confidence. I think that's leading through to demand, and it's also leading through to sellers bringing properties to market. And I suppose critically, even though prices are sort of stabilizing at where they are at the moment, up 1.5% on where they were a year below, transactions are still taking place. So transactions, sold subject to contract, where people are shaking hands and agreeing on a sale, they're down 3% on where they were in 2019. So quite similar to the levels we'd seen in a more normal market like 2019. So transactions are taking place at these kind of prices. So we're seeing a little bit of stability, a little bit of confidence. Should be cautious, should be restraint at this point, because I'll just say there are many things that could happen as we progress through 2023. But I think it's really encouraging.
Tim, you've used that word confidence a few times now. I mean, confidence seems to be in strongest supply at the top end of the market. That's where asking prices are growing most rapidly.
That's right. They're up for the bigger properties. So 4-bedroom detached and 5 bedrooms and above. That's the sector we look at, top of the ladder. They're up 2.8%, and against on average 1.8%. So we think on that we would urge a little bit of caution there. Perhaps that's a little over optimistic. If properties are coming to the market at the right price and competitively priced, they are selling. But in that particular segment, we've seen, our sales are 3% below where they were in 2019. In that segment, they're 6% below where they were in 2019. So perhaps a little bit overconfidence in that top of the market segment. So we'll see what happens there, whether that sort of is tempered a little bit in the coming months.
All right, Tim, we've got to leave it there. Good to talk to you this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Some other business news stories for you now. And the Treasury said this morning it sold another £1.26 billion worth of shares in NatWest Group. The sale takes the taxpayer's stake in the lender, which at its peak was around 84%, down to 38.6%. It's the sixth block sale of the government's stake in the bank, previously named Royal Bank of Scotland, of course, during the global financial crisis 15 years ago. Well, Andrew Griffith, the Economic Secretary to the Treasury, said today's sale is another major milestone in returning NatWest to full private ownership as promised. The government has now sold well over half its shareholding. Shares of NatWest are currently ahead by nearly 9% right now. Almost half of medium-sized British companies plan to delay investment plans following last month's increase in corporation tax. That's according to a survey by the accounting firm BDO. It found that 46% of businesses with a turnover of between £10 to £300 million expect that the rise in corporation tax would delay investment. Some 39% of firms questioned said it would slow hiring or lead to job losses. Well, the news comes days after Jeremy Hunt, the Chancellor, told the annual conference of the British Chambers of Commerce that he wanted to cut business taxes, but warned it might not be possible in this autumn's budget. And the Sustainable Technologies and Industrial Materials Group Johnson Matthey has signed a 3-year partnership agreement with the Norwegian company Starr to step up its production of green or renewable hydrogen. Under the agreement, Johnson Matthey will supply the company with membrane electrode assemblies, one of the key components in the electrolyzers used in green hydrogen production. The pair have been working together since 2021, although no figure was published this morning concerning the agreement. Well, stocks in the Asia-Pacific region enjoyed a largely positive session overnight, with the Nikkei in Tokyo enjoying more gains following indications from the Bank of Japan's governor that the country's ultra-loose monetary policy will remain in place for the time being. Sydney, there in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, was the only major market in the region to finish lower. Well, in Europe, things are a little bit more cautious this morning ahead of developments on the US debt ceiling negotiations. As you can see, the IBEX in Madrid is the only continental European index in positive territory right now. That's not to say there are not some gainers across the continent, and one standout feature today is Borussia Dortmund. Shares of the German football club are ahead by some 13% in Frankfurt. That is, as the club looks set to win the German league title. That'll be the first time since 2013 that someone other than Bayern Munich has won the Bundesliga. Meanwhile, the main stock index in Greece is up by more than 6.5%. That's after the centre-right government looks set to be re-elected. Well, here in London, the FTSE 100 is in positive territory, currently up a third of 1% right now in a broad-based rally. The leading blue-chip gainer currently is Burberry. The shares in the fashion retailer fell by more than 9% on Thursday and Friday. That has evidently brought a few bargain hunters out of the woodwork. Another gainer this morning, JD Sports. You'll recall we had the chief executive on the programme a week ago, last week. That is wanted after some positive broker comment on those results. Outside the FTSE, the car parts maker Dowlais is up another 3.5%. That is after portfolio managers continue to build a position in the stock following its recent demerger from Melrose. Top of the screen there you can see Wizz Air. The share's up nearly 2% right now. That seems to be in sympathy with Ryanair's very strong reports today. And the green hydrogen and ammonia production company Atom Energy, the shares there up 8% after the US energy firm Baker Hughes snapped up a 6.6% stake. On the downside, as you can see on the screen there, Dechra Pharmaceuticals, that's a veterinary pharmaceuticals business, used to be in the FTSE 100. The shares off 9.5% nearly, following a profits warning this morning. On the foreign exchange markets, pretty quiet, to be honest with you. Sterling more or less unchanged right now against the dollar, off 0.1% against the greenback. The single currency, meanwhile, up at 1/8% nearly against the dollar. All eyes on the US debt ceiling negotiations there. As for the oil price, well, that sold off on Friday afternoon and it's continued to drift a bit this morning amid concerns over demand for well, look at that. It's more or less unchanged, really. Quiet morning all round. Barrel of Brent crude will currently set you back $75.56 a barrel. As I say, that is more or less unchanged. Joining me this morning is Eleanor Ingleby. She's Deputy Head of Portfolio Management at Atomos. Ellie, good to see you this morning. It is all about the US debt ceiling right now, isn't it?
The focus is absolutely fully on that. And it sounds almost quite sensationalist to say that the US might run out of money. However, it is a very challenging time. And whilst the deadline is the 1st of June, they have to make a deal this week in order to loosen that noose around their neck to a certain extent.
Yeah, the fact that Biden didn't, he didn't call off his trip to the G7, though, kind of inspires hope that something is afoot.
I think so. The markets seem quite confident that they will actually reach this deal. I was reading this morning that if they don't reach a deal, it could potentially drop the Dow Jones by around 20%. And certainly we'd expect to see some indication of that in the futures over the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I think the market's looking for a fairly positive start right now, actually, in the US. Apart from Meta, of course, that was an interesting bit of news we got just then.
Really interesting. I feel for Meta, they can't seem to catch a break recently. The company, on paper, it looks very good, but they seem to be struggling to find direction. And certainly the regulation seems to be catching up with them.
Let's talk about what's been going on in the European markets. I mean, fairly lacklustre there today, but I mean, European markets have had a reasonably good May thus far, haven't they?
They have, and they've been one of the strongest equity markets year to date, in double figures, up around 11% in comparison to other areas which have struggled more. But I think if you look at what's driven that strength year to date, it's really been the avoidance of an energy crisis, and the confidence that China's coming back out of lockdown and will start spending on luxury goods. However, the data on that is a little bit shaky. We're not quite seeing the positives we might have expected to see. So it'll be interesting to see where European markets go from here on.
Yeah, well, I've just heard actually talking about Meta. The company's just said in the last couple of moments it's going to appeal. It's called this fine from the European Commission unjustified and unnecessary.
Well, they've got the legal teams to do it and certainly the money to do it. But I think that'll be a fascinating battle to watch in court.
Yeah, back to Europe, though. I mean, how much of this is down to interest rate expectations, do you think? The fact that the ECB kind of indicated last time round it was going to pause on its rate hiking. We've also had some really, really good company results.
Yeah, I think it's hugely to do with that. And I think there's certainly indications that both the Fed and the ECB are going to pause. And they seem to have reached that peak of inflation, which is, for the markets, extremely positive.
Now, further afield, we got this news overnight that Micron, which is a big US chip company, has been banned by China effectively.
This is huge news, but also it's interesting. Micron only they generate around 11% of their revenue from China. But what we're seeing there is the ramping up of the trade war. This is not the first time this has happened. And the US has certainly banned companies before from China and found other ways in which they can hamper that technology production, really.
All right, Ellie, got to leave it there. Good to see you this morning. Thank you. Just to recap on that news we brought you earlier in the programme, Meta fined $1.3 billion by the European Commission. In the last few moments, Meta has said that this fine is unjustified and unnecessary, and it will be appealing. We'll have more on that throughout the morning here on Sky News. But still to come here on Ian King Live, why the closure of riding schools is threatening the UK's equine industry. Don't go away.
And now it's coming from both sides and it's moving this way.
Only about half a mile from the Turkish coast, and it's evident that the boat seriously overcrowded. This is one of the most severe viruses in the world. I'm Alex Crawford and I'm Sky's special correspondent based in Istanbul.
The biggest party Tripoli has ever seen.
That's it got us then. There's a lot of action going on, a lot of hits going in still. We aim to be the best and the most trusted place in news.
Clearly not had very much to eat at all, a lot of them extremely thin and very frail.
Look at her arms, I can put my entire hand round. This is the cocktail of drugs which the doctors at this hospital have been giving their coronavirus patients. Made for people who want clarity in an uncertain world.
Mother Nature can be vicious, absolutely savage. The world's largest falls now down to a trickle in places.
I can't imagine how much plastic is lying at the bottom of this huge lake. Whoa! close and personal with a rhino.
This is what makes the job so fantastic.
Welcome back. Now, more than 250 riding schools have closed during the last 5 years, and the UK's equine industry is under threat as a result. That's the warning from the British Horse Society, the UK's largest equine charity, which promotes animal welfare and which seeks to protect access to bridleways for horses and their riders. It's now launching a campaign, Keep Britain Riding, to provide financial and practical help for riding schools. Well, joining me now is James Hick. He's Chief Executive of the British Horse Society. James, welcome to you. What is behind this loss in riding schools?
Well, good morning. There are many things that are happening across the UK at the moment. And one of the key things, of course, is that riding schools can't find the staff to make sure that they can be viable and safe places for people to come to. More than 75% of riding schools are struggling with finding staff. And the implication of that is, of course, that may create riding schools to close. But as the British Horse Society, one of the things that we've done is created a career transition fund, which is a bursary. We've had about 1,700 people that have come onto that. There are also many other things, such as the cost of insurance, for example. Running a centre is another major cost that has to be borne. And one of the other issues that fortunately we've been able to reverse is around the rateable values of riding schools. But it's critical that we can keep riding schools open, not just for the economic reasons. And non-racing equestrianism has a value of about £4.7 billion to the UK economy. But it's also about health and well-being and being able to give people that ability to enjoy horses as we have done for thousands of years.
Absolutely. I should say that's Theo that you've got with you right now. I mean, riding schools really are the backbone of the rural economy in many ways, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. You know, there are something like 1,600 or so riding schools up and down the UK. Most of those are quite small businesses, but of course they have a supply chain around them. And the key thing is making sure that they maintain viability. Now, most riding schools will tell you that they've got a waiting list of at least 50 clients. So there is great demand, but the issue is having availability of the actual places to go. And there are many riding schools up and down the country, and I'm here today at one that is a charity. And this organisation here, the Pallien Centre, is actually delivering well-being benefits to disadvantaged children, for example, through our Changing Lives Through Horses programme. And if these riding schools weren't to be here, many children and young people who aren't able to access education in the normal way may be excluded from any type of education. And the power of horses allows them to be both educated and also develop life skills. So it's critical that we keep Britain riding.
James, just to go back to the point that you were making earlier on staffing, why are centres suffering these staff shortages? I mean, most people I know who've been involved in riding schools, I mean, they're extremely motivated. They're not just doing it for the money, they're doing it for the love of the horses as well.
You're absolutely right, Ian. There are a whole number of reasons, but what we see is the same issues across riding schools as we see across the broader economy. You've got pressures in terms of an ageing population, the time it takes to actually be able to become qualified, specifically to be able to coach people that need to be of a high standard. That takes time, it takes a lot of effort. And as we see, many people perhaps don't want to have that job. It's beautiful on a day like today, but when it's winter time, it's quite a tough job. But the rewards are huge. Working with horses, being outside, bringing great pleasure to people, both in their pleasure time, but as I say, more importantly, what we can see is the health and well-being benefits of riding is absolutely critical.
Absolutely, it is, James. Best of luck to you with the campaign, and thank you to you for keeping Theo under control. He's been very well behaved, hasn't he?
It's really beautiful. Thank you.
Lovely stuff. See you again, James. Thank you.
See you.
Bit of breaking news that we can bring you now, courtesy of our city editor, Mark Kleiman, and it concerns John Allen, the chairman of Tesco, who, as we reported on Friday afternoon, is stepping down. Mark, what have you got?
Yeah, that's right, Ian. We got, of course, that confirmation on Friday that Mr. Allen would step down as chairman of Tesco next month following allegations of inappropriate behaviour, which he strenuously denies. What I can reveal this morning, Ian, is that Mr. Allen is also now in talks to sell his 20% shareholding in a mentoring business called J&A Mentoring Partners, which he set up with his co-founder Anna Joseph about 5 years ago. Now he's going to sell his 20% stake in the firm to Ms. Joseph. The price is undisclosed, and those talks are now underway. As I understand it, the shareholder agreement between the two of them when the business was founded in 2018 always envisaged that this transaction would take place at some point, but it's only now emerged that Mr. Allen is going to sell his stake in this business. Now, J&A provides mentoring services to up-and-coming corporate executives. It includes a roster of very well-known corporate figures as mentors, people like Cressida Hogg, the chair of BAE Systems, and Adam Crozier, the chairman of BT Group. Now, of course, Mr. Allen has already stepped down as chairman of the house builder Barratt Developments. We know he's stepping down next month as chairman of Tesco, and he is now in talks to sell his stake in J&A Mentoring Partners. Now, Mr. Allen's spokesman confirmed that he will remain a mentor, one of the people involved with the business, but that he is indeed in talks to sell his stake to his co-founder, Anna Joseph.
Mark, I mean, we shouldn't really lose sight of the fact here that whatever is being said about John Allen now, I mean, he has had an enormously distinguished career in British business. He's probably one of the more influential figures on the British business scene over the last couple of decades, you could say.
No doubt about that at all, Ian. Mr. Allen is hugely well respected in boardrooms. He's served on boards like Royal Mail, and Dixon's Carphone over the last couple of decades. He's become an influential figure in terms of Britain's British businesses' approach to politics, and of course was a president of the CBI, which itself now is in the spotlight in terms of its future survival. And Mr. Allen, who's 74 now, is likely to bow out with these allegations hanging over him. But as you say, Ian, an incredibly distinguished figure over the last 20 years in British corporate life.
All right, Mark, thanks for that. We're just going to break into the business news momentarily now because Sir Keir Starmer, the Labour Party leader, is about to give a speech on the NHS. Let's listen in.
Thank you. Thank you, Wes. Thank you all for being here. It is fantastic to be in Braintree. I've got very fond memories of this part of the world because 16 happy years ago, I got married just down the road in the Fens. So that's why it's got this special place in my heart. And almost as good as that, this is where 2 weeks ago, at the local elections, the Labour Party was back on the march in Essex. But today I'm here to speak about something that's fundamental to the Labour Party, fundamental to our purpose of working people, the NHS. Just look at it. The 8 o'clock scramble, the appointments missed, opportunities missed, to spot the pain that turned out to be a tumour. Patients who want to go home are well enough to go home, but who have to stay in hospital for months, waiting for a care package. Day-long waits in A&E. Record numbers off work, sick. People pulling their own teeth out. 7 million on waiting lists. And ambulances for heart attacks and stroke victims that don't come on time. Just think about that for a second. Ambulances that don't come. Can any of you imagine losing someone in that way? I can't. And I mean that in every sense. I can't imagine it. It shouldn't be possible in our country. But it is.
UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
All around the world. And until now, until this point, for 75 years, it has. It's one of the greatest privileges of being born in Britain. certainly for all of my life. The knowledge that if you get ill, if you have a serious accident, you'll get the care that you need, whatever your circumstances. Not every country has a system like that, and the insecurity.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Check me out. He tells me my energy is making him tired.
Yes!
How do you get the energy to do
I've been told that I have a lot of energy, but my goodness, I think today I have met my match, people. I have met my match, Miss Suzanne. Wow, amazing.
One of the things that's the start of the darkness. Hole of darkness. So what did that? Myself and the world will adjust. And 2019?
Forget the proverbial boardroom. Join me, Simone Frazier, on The CEO, the program that gives you the driving seat over your life. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. only on Starr Radio.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7. The best radio show.
In your car,
at work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK. Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Your heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. Hey, this is Archie and you are listening to Starr Radio UK and The Morning Show.
This is Starr Radio. This is UK. Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
Welcome.
This is Starr Radio. Starr Radio UK.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Enlighten your day with Starr Radio.
This is Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
Starr Radio. Radio for the people, by the people.
Love for you runs deep. All of you makes my heart beat. You make a doubt they fade. Jesus, and that's what makes you great.
Oh, and that is how I say a massive good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you, wherever you might be on planet Earth, and those of you on other planets as well. I want to salute each and every one of you. Once again, say welcome to the Starr Radio UK Monday edition of the morning show. Today is the 22nd day of May, the year 2023, with the time now 10:44 from the hearts of London. I remain yours sincerely, the one and only.
This is the morning show with Archie.
But I'm taking this opportunity to say good morning to my colleagues, Mr. Olayomi Koiki, that's the team for this morning, HRH Linda Pallien, and my able producer, Mr. Francis Guy. To Mr. Frank Davis, all the way in Ghana as well, I salute each and every one. I salute you and each and every one of the presenters on Starr Radio UK, KB Botsman, and the team that were on the show under the able producership of production of Mr. Francis Guy once again on the Faith Talk yesterday. Another smash of a program there. I salute each and every one of you. Okay, 10:45 the time. Let me say good morning to Bishop Adesina, Pastor Momo, Bishop Adesina, all the guys in the office. I salute each and every one of you. I hope you all had a very nice weekend. And of course, as we say here on this platform, Nigeria has not happened to you. Eddie, massive good morning to you as well. I hit the back of your DJ and Lizzie, Mamu Inache. Lady Pastor Salome Ado and Pastor Joseph Ado all the way in Milton Keynes. Mr. Maxwell Nyamadi, good morning to you all. To Felix all the way in Aberdeen and to Kojo D here in the south of London, good morning to you. Olakule, good morning. Let me take it this way, I'll say it this way. All protocol observed. Welcome to the show. Share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages as well. Amen. Good morning. Okay, so if it's the first time of tuning in on a Monday morning to listen to us on the show, this is how the program goes. I'm going to bring you the quote for the day, the weather forecast will follow suit, then the travel updates as well. We'll move on from there to look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe. It's known as Global Trotting. Then after that, we'll bring you updates from Nigeria with Mr. Olayomi Koiki from 11 o'clock. That continues until it's done, and then we look at some of the other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world. The lines will be open at 12 o'clock for you to add your voice to the discussions. But however, if before then you have anything to say, you can just post it on our Facebook page or on our YouTube channel or the platform that we are broadcasting on. And also, exact time what 12:30 will take you straight to Cyprus, where our own HRH Linda Pallien and the Palliens are. And this morning, let me say a special good morning to the one and only Ohimaya Asantua, the gorgeous baby, and to Mr. Pallien as well. I salute you all. Then after that, the curtains are brought down for the end of the program. So in a gist, that's what's going to happen today. But once again, welcome, share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones, and invite them to like our pages. So what does the quote of the day say? It says, past pain, disappointment, mistakes, and failures at times pose dangers to our success. Now pulling you back as you strive to move on and achieve more. Well, what is past is past. What can you do about it? If there are things that you can amend so that you don't fall into that particular trench again, just do so. If not, just plod on. That's by way of the quote for the day. Let me take you straight to the weather front. Let me tell you what is happening on the weather front. Well, as well, we were expected, was expected this weekend, but it seems a bit eluded us somewhere somehow. They say the blanket sunshine and stuff like that here in the south, but I didn't actually see that. It was cloudy, wasn't it? Though dry though. Okay, so the quote for the day is apologies. The weather forecast. My apologies sincerely. For today, this afternoon will be dry, cloudy. Cloud will continue to gradually break up with sunshine developing for all. Just the odd patch of light, cool cloud lingering in places. And tonight will remain dry throughout. There will be largely clear skies, but a band of cloud is also expected to sweep in from the north during the early hours. And that brings us to the end of the weather forecast. Summer temperatures 20 degrees, lowest 8 degrees, pollen level low, UV level moderate, pollution low, sunset 2055, sunrise for tomorrow morning 05 hours. Share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages as well. Okay. Let's take a quick break and let me bring you the travel updates wherever you might be. Stay tuned, don't you go away. Starr, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Okay, so keep your eyes on the roads, and we'll keep you navigated. I promise our bond, the Starr Radio UK travel update that comes to every weekday from 10:40. It's now 10:50. So what is happening? A quick one on the underground this morning. apart from the Elizabeth line that's got minor delays at Paddington to Abbey Wood, while they fix a faulty train at Paddington. Good service on all other routes though. The Jubilee line has also got severe delays due to an earlier power supply problem in the depot at Stratford. Now please avoid the Jubilee line and use other routes where possible. And aside all the others, good service, London Overground, DLR, London Tramlink, good service there. Now moving on straight to the major roads in London, 820, 823, and Central London Red routes have all got serious delays. Do your best to avoid it. And when it comes to the river bus, good service throughout. London Cable Car, good service there as well. I'm moving on to the final segment of the travel update. That is the National Rail, and we have a bit of issue there. Cross country, First Haul Trains, Grand Central, Great Northern, Great Western Railway, London North Eastern Railway, Lumo, Thameslink have all got severe delays. So check before you leave though. But on that note, as I would do say, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night to you, wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your commute for today. But you know what? Continue to keep those eyes on the roads.
Tune in to On Point here on Star Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Welcome back to the program, Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now let's move on to the global trotting, some of the stories making the rounds across the globe this morning. A saxophonist, a very young little girl, Best Bassie. I just chanced on it this morning and I thought, that is good. She's just a little girl. I just see her, I just see my granddaughter's face. She just look like her, you know. Okay, my granddaughter is little. She's not even 3 years, she's 2 plus. Or is it 3? See, this man is getting old. What about that? Alright then, so when it comes to the stories making the rounds, when it comes to Nigeria, now invite Arabambi. That's Peter Obi. Invite Arabambi. That's what the Labour Party tables request before police DSS over death threat. Death threat over towards Peter Obi. And then Buhari, 5 African presidents to commission Dangote Petroleum Refinery today. Okay, more coming your way from there. Still in Nigeria, 70% of food exports from Nigeria rejected abroad, says NAFDAC. Now I thought that was one of the exports that we have in the country. Okay, that is agriculture or yes, food products. But if 70% of it is being rejected, then we have a problem. So what exactly is happening? I'll be telling you more about that when it comes to Nigeria, especially in these times where we look at the insecurity issue that is causing lots of farmers to abandon their projects, because we talk about the Fulani menace that goes on there, or let me say headsmen. A sensitive project. Now, court asks federal government to account for $460 million, a Chinese loan that was granted them. Justice Emeka Nwite of the Federal High Court in Abuja has ordered the federal government to account for the spending of $460 million Chinese loan obtained in 2010 to fund the Abuja closed-circuit television, that is a CCTV project. Do you see it there? Is it working at all? And then some stories for those of you in the UK pertaining to from Nigeria, UK to ban Nigerian students and others from bringing families in what is best described as a major immigration crackdown on foreign students. The United Kingdom is set to announce new restrictions that will most likely stop Nigerian students and other nationalities studying in the UK from bringing their families over. I'll be telling you more about that as the program goes on. Now, moving on straight to other parts of Africa as well. A Senegalese youngest film director breaking barriers at Cannes Festival. Now, today, you know me, says director Ramata Tolayi Sai at the press conference. Her film Banel and Adama, the film by the First Time Feature. She's just a little girl, very young there, you know. But I like celebrating ours, you know. When they do well, you celebrate them. You celebrate them because we are doing good, aren't we? Now, Sudan's warring sides agreed to 7-day ceasefire starting on Monday, representatives of both Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and his former deputy Mohammed Hamdan Daglo signed up to the ceasefire in Jeddah. And Cameroon, divided Cameroon, celebrates National Unity Day. What is union? What is the union there? What unity are we talking about there? And Senegal, attention, who are the youth ready to die for? One of the stories making around, and Franco-Senegalese director makes it to Cannes with her. That is the story that I was talking about earlier on. Amnesty frees a fifth of prisoners from Zimbabwe. And DRC, police clash with opposition protesters. When it comes to Ghana, Kumawu by-election, EC dismisses notice of polls circulating on social media. I'll be telling you more about that. The finance minister in Ghana also says we should not dwell on the past. Economy is on path of revitalization. So you know that they've been calling for him to resign, step and everything. Now that they got the IMF loan, well, he's coming out. You know what? Just relax now. We are on the path to where? Is he just trying to play down the noise that people are going to be making that now? The president did say that allow him to see to the negotiations, and now that that's gone through, so that give me some time to stay on. And then mobile money transactions hit 550.4 billion in 4 months of 2023. I bet government is rubbing its hands, its hand like that. Woo! Some money is going to come in. Okay, in some other stories as well. Here in the UK, the Prime Minister is to consult ethics advisor over speeding Braverman's claims. Now I listened to that story very well, and I was like, you know what? This is the rule of law, you know. It doesn't matter who you are. If you are caught, Now, if you are not caught, that is a different ballgame. But if you are caught, all right then. So I'll be telling you more about that. Eleba wants NHS to tackle heart and suicide deaths. Now, Keir Starmer says if elected, he will aim to cut suicide, heart diseases, and stroke deaths. How is he going to do that? He said it's not all about money. So what is it about? We're going to tell you more about that in a moment. And junior doctors in Scotland offered 14.5% pay rise. My goodness. Well, those in the south here are also going to England and other Wales are going to say that we want the same. We want the same because we are all in the same debacle. Let me say good morning to my bishop once again. Bishop Adeshina, and good morning to you and to everyone in that office who tune in each day to listen to us. We salute you and thank you for your support there. Olakunle, good morning. He says, good morning to Starr Radio UK. Special greetings to Archie and the White Lion. Love and respect. Love and respect to you too. All right then. Bakhmut not occupied by Russia, says defiant Zelensky. Russia's Wagner group claims to have taken full control over the city after a bloody months-long battle. And satellites reveal Russian defenses before major assault. Biden urges debt ceiling compromise as talks resume. The president will meet top Republican Kevin McCarthy on Monday for talks on lifting the ceiling. And Greek Prime Minister hails big election win but wants majority. Now center-right Kyriakos Mitsotakis falls just short of outright victory and plans for a second round. Would I give them what they need? Well. More going to be coming your way from there. At least least 20 children dead in Guyana school fire. A major fire breaks out at a secondary school in the central town of Madia, engulfing a dormitory. And a green flash as meteor blazes across night sky. Resident in northeast Australia caught a glimpse of what scientists believe to be a meteor on Saturday night. And some of the stories making the rounds this morning. So now you can back score for live broadcast of tribunal proceedings. But we have Tinubu and Shatima who say, no, it's not a circus. It is not, what do you call that one? A reality show that we are going to be broadcasting or making jokes about. But well, people want to know exactly what is happening there, so that when they say provide evidence, we see that the lawyers are providing the evidence so that people can be the judge or judges for themselves. Okay? Now we know our leaders, they wouldn't do that. This is Starr Radio UK. We'll be having Mr. Olayomi Koiki joining us in a moment, but let's enjoy some music from here and then we go on from there. This is from the new song and it says, have faith, have faith. Enjoy it, and I'll be with you in a moment. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
You are listening to Starr Radio Morning. Enlighten your day with Starr Radio.
This is Starr Radio. This is Starr Radio UK.
Archie on Starr Radio. Nobody does it better.
Only the best music.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Are you ready to turn it up?
Well, in a nutshell, all that song is saying is that, well, Have faith in God. It doesn't matter the current situation that you might be going through. Maybe you think that throwing the towel out, the towel is what is going to help you out. But hey, you need help, find help. But don't throw in the towel. I say it all the time that you have life and you have hope. When it's all ended, when your life is taken, then I can tell you assuredly, like, you know what, you can just chill out. Somebody say chilling out where? In the grave. Sometimes even the grave leaders don't allow you to chill out there. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Today is a new day. Keep on keeping on. Learn from the past mistakes. The disappointments, yeah. But some way, somehow, you are able to do it. Keep on prodding on, as Felix will say. And some way, somehow, you'll be able to do it. So continue to have faith. But it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Taking you straight to our North London studios, where my colleague and co-presenter Mr. Olayomi Koiki is all ready to fire on all cylinders. But share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages, as well as I welcome in the house Mr. Olayomi Koiki, the White Lion. Yomi, good morning.
Well, good morning to you, and I hope you can hear me back in the studio very well.
Loud and clear, loud and clear. How are you, and how was your weekend?
Well, the weekend is always, beautiful, especially when you have, spend the quality time, with those that you love so much. I had a very, long weekend. It was also, the weekend of celebration. The wife's birthday was just around the weekend as well. And likewise, it was also time to reflect, especially when you look at the situation of things happening around the world. We also come down to the inauguration that has never been done before. This is a kind of a different, transmission between, the one that we witnessed. Remember that Starr Radio UK was in Nigeria in 2019. Mm-hmm. So in a nutshell, I was invited to a get-together, but I decided, I think I could have a get-together in the house, so which I couldn't make. But apart from that, it's good to be back, and I hope your weekend was very good as well.
Yeah, it was good as well. It was good as well. Busy, but was good. It was my mom's birthday also on Saturday. So to all those who celebrated their birthdays over the weekend, we say happy birthday to you, to the lovely wife, and to my mom, and to every one of you. Happy birthday! And we thank God that Nigeria didn't happen to you, and we are still here. So listeners, Mr. Olayomi Koiki in our North London studios, and I'm Archie here, and we're bringing you updates from Nigeria. So say good to your sets and don't touch the dial. Now, interestingly, today is the 22nd, so it gives us 7 days more. So a week today, we will be seeing the transition. That means the handing over from the Buhari administration to the Tinubu administration, and whether people like it or not, the tribunal is going on. However, the handing over is still going to be taking place. Yomi, what is happening?
Well, Tinubu finally returned back to Nigeria. Remember that Tinubu was out of the country as well. So it was, as usual, the hope. Because, when you look at the president that is just, almost out of the country, and then, there will be a lot of, skepticism whether it will be back in time before I think some will be praying that Tinubu does not return back. It's not from us, but I'm sure, especially those, from the obedient and the Atiku. But Tinubu has to return back because he has a lot that he wants to get along with, especially knowing fully well that Nigeria is going through a very, very turbulent times, as we say. And that is right there, Tinubu. Let's get the engineer to give us a bit of clarity there. So you can see Tinubu there with the wife arriving back into Abuja. At the moment, he's not traveling with with the presidential aircraft, or he's still using his own private jet. But yes, Tinubu returned from Europe ahead of 29th May transition. The president-elect Bola Tinubu has returned to Nigeria ahead of his 29th of May swearing in after 10 days in Europe. We know that he told us he was going for a business trip and getting the investors into the country. He was received at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport just at about 3:40 p.m., which is about almost 1600 hours, by the president-elect Shetima, and likewise the Senate President Ahmed Lawan, the Deputy Idris Wase, and others as well. The question is, as we are now capped down to these important days, there's also been a lot of security drills. I've been following the NSA, the Nigerian main security, saying that if you do not have anything to do in Abuja, especially close to the Eagle Square, stay away from there. There's been a lot of other people saying that there's going to be protests, especially those that disagree with the election result. But we all say it is now calmed down to as much of Tinubu still facing rebellion, even among his lawmakers elect of his party choice of the National Assembly leadership.
Well, if you're listening to us, what do you think about the inauguration of Tinubu on next Monday, exactly today, and that's the 29th? What do you think about it? Are you going to be part of the ones demonstrating there? We want to know more about it. But well, though Buhari has got 7 days to go, well, he's still continuing to do everything that he has to do as a president. So one of the projects that we were looking at in the past, that we were thinking that if that comes upline or online, when I say online, no, not online here, but upstream, that's how they say, the refinery bit, well, Nigeria can enjoy much from that. So the Dangote refinery is going to be open today, and Buhari is the one who's going to be seeing to that. Now, Yomi, more from there.
Yes, it's been a project that have cost almost 89 billion US dollars. That's the staggering amount of money. Dangote refinery is eyeing the crude oil from 3 continents. Remember that each time I go back to these data that I have from the OEC, is an historical data that gives the breakdown of what countries around the world are exporting and importing. So let me give us a background before we go into the Dangote story this morning. In 2021, Nigeria made from exports, export products about 57.7 billion US dollars. It's not enough, because if we have more things that we are manufacturing, we could be able to send more stuff into Nigeria, around the world. But one part that gave us a lot of money was the crude petroleum. So when I click on that, for the benefit of our listeners from around the world, crude petroleum gave us $41.8 billion, in terms of export. But remember that we are not the one refining, so we're actually sending the natural products to other countries for them to help us to refine it. So Dangote is going to be taking advantage of that now. So when we talk about the 72.5%, that's about the almost 41 billion. Indian is buying more of our crude oil, and we know that Indian is an industrial nation that they are still producing enough for around the world. Spain and France. Coming back to the Dangote refinery that Buhari will be inaugurating out today, what do we know? As the Dangote refinery began operation today, is about almost 650,000 barrels per day. When you multiply that to the week, that literally means that the amount of dollar that Nigeria spent to get this produced in and out of the country will reduce. But that does not mean that Dangote will be able to give every part of what we need in Nigeria today. It was, this facility has been designed to process not just the crude oil, it has also, crude oil grade from 3 continents of Africa and Asia and America. So it's not just about the Nigerian crude oil that Dangote targets, it's also expecting to help, those other countries from Asia and America in terms of, reproducing their crude oil as well. It was also gathered that the refinery would deliver a surplus of about 38 million liters of petrol, diesel, kerosene, and the aviation fuel for Nigeria daily, and it will meet the 100% fuel supply requirement of the country. So it seems from what they are saying, Dangote might be able to provide the 100% that Nigeria needs. The data in the document that was obtained on Sunday showed that the Dangote refinery could support the establishment of about 26,716 filling stations, and they're thinking it can create about 100,000 direct and indirect jobs and provide a $21 billion market for the Nigerian crude oil annually. And you can tell that what we were exporting out of the country in 2021 was to the tune of 41 billion. So it seems that Dangote will be cutting half of that, in the near future.
Okay, listeners, it is Star Radio UK. But on that, because I have some skepticisms when it comes to our people, because we talked about electricity, even in Nigeria, where we're saying that Nigeria should not be this time still scratching the bottom of the barrel, trying to get electric or power there, because they sell gas. If you want to use plants to do it, they have enough to use, but we don't see that. But the issue here, once again, is those petroleum importers in Nigeria. Are they not going to see Dangote as a threat? Because, they also make business from importing, because it's not government who only imports petroleum into the country, refined petroleum, that's what I mean, products as well. So if Dangote is now taking that particular place, don't you think there's going to be a sabotage some way, somehow? Because the people think that they are taking their money, like those who are in the trade, the generator trade, apart from my neighbor trade, because of electricity. So they'll do everything to sabotage it so that they can also be making some money. Yummy.
Well, you're quite right. There might be those that are a little bit skeptical about the project from the day one, but since the government have given, and Buhari has given a full backing to this project, because it's a huge project. I mean, we're talking about almost $89 billion there. So, and since Nigeria is struggling right now to have enough forex, our foreign reserve is less than 40 billion US dollars, and that is also a strain to so many Nigerians, especially those that are studying out of the country, and you need to exchange the money as well. So that means that Dangote will be helping the country to save that kind of forex that we are spending outside. Buhari and the CBN and likewise the Lagos State, because this project is actually in Lagos State, which is also going to be a very, very huge factor for the residents that are living very close there. Like we said earlier, about 100,000 direct and indirect jobs from this refinery. But for those that are probably a little bit concerned whether Dangote will take the bigger share right now, well, if you go back to the Niger Delta as an example, we've seen a lot of bunkering that continue to happen in that area, and that has destroyed the whole environment. And the reason for that is, they're not doing up to the extent of Dangote, but they're doing the bunkering. Maybe the government should have, invested in the smaller scale unit. If these people have this kind of experience, they can then be doing as many in the little format rather than, destroying, the environment, which was why somebody like Ken Saro-Wiwa was fighting, for the damage that was done by Shell, but eventually it was killed by the late Sani Abacha, in 1995 by hanging.
Well, listeners, it is Star Radio UK. Bishop Adesina, regarding the Dangote project, says the worst of the Dangote refinery project is that it does not have effect in reducing the prices of the finished product. It was spoken by government spokesman when interviewed on mainstream media. So, virtually, yes, Dangote is going to be there doing all that, but the fuel prices at the pumps are still going to be the same, or the various petroleum products that are, it's still going to be the same. It's not going to impact people directly, though it's going to be providing some job opportunities for some other people. Yomi.
Well, like I said, it's a benefit for Nigerians and Nigeria as a whole, in the long run, because if this project, was not in Nigeria, then that means, we have 4 refineries. A lot of people have blamed the government, since the 1960s for destroying, the economy by not investing in infrastructure. Infrastructure is the backbone of any economy, and the longer that your infrastructure continue to go into that stage where it is not up to the strength, the 4 refineries is not working to full capacity, not even half capacity. So this is like a government refinery, but subsidiary to an individual, because the government did not have the fund, when Nigeria, had the opportunity when the crude oil was selling during the Gulf oil, during the war, and the money that was made out of the crude oil, since 1960. This money have been squandered, stolen, corruption, and has left 4 refineries just as dead as nothing. So even as many Nigerians have said, just scrap those refineries. They are useless as anything else. But it seems that the Dangote refinery will be, the talk of the conversation, not within Nigeria, in Africa and around the world.
Well, it's interesting if an individual, a private entity, can be able to manage or build something of that sort, that we hope, keeping fingers and everything crossed, is going to work the way it's supposed to, and then give the country as a whole a benefit. And government has got 4 of it, and nothing. They seem to be wasting money there. Every time they are at a loss, before they wake up in the morning, they are already at a loss. That's their default position, and it's a very, very sad thing when it happens, not only in Nigeria but in Ghana as well, where the Tema oil refinery, they wake up in the morning, they are at a loss. So you ask yourself, what exactly is going on? Meanwhile, Ghana is also producing crude oil. So what's the point? But we hope all Dangote and the team, all the best there, that the refinery will be a trailblazer for those private entities in or on the African continent. But interestingly, we are looking at how Nigeria makes money, and one of the areas has been exports. Now, the food export, which you've not captured, but I just captured it, say that 70% of food exports from Nigeria is rejected abroad, and that is scary. Because we've been relying. You remember Captain John? Captain John, you interviewed back in the day when you went to Nigeria for, I think, that election, the 2019 election, thereabout. And Captain John was of the view that if Nigeria will, move its focus from the crude oil and look at other agriculture products, I think the country will be making lots of money. But it's that NAFDAC is saying that that the Director General, National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, Professor Majisola Adeyeye, yesterday lamented that over 70% of food exports from Nigeria are rejected abroad, with huge financial losses to exporters in the country. Adeyeye, however, said the rejection in some European countries and the United States of America may soon become a thing of the past if collaboration between the agency and other government agencies at ports is strengthened. What do you think is bringing about this? Because again, we have yam, we have lots of things that can be produced. In Africa, you can just throw something at your backyard or in front of your house, and the next day it's grown. But
maybe we should stop saying that, because using this phrase all the time, we can just throw something there and it grows, and then I think it has actually even made a lot of us to start asking, is it this a fact or is it just a friction? Yes, we know it's a fact because we have the soil, we have the terrain. But when you are not training, farmers, the graph that you're still looking behind me is from 2021, and I'm going to be touching on, again, it's still part of the export. You would expect that Nigeria should even be doing more, away from the crude oil in the last, 3 decades, because, we have what it takes. We have the waterways that is very good. In Lagos, they've destroyed the ones in the southeast. They've not even allowed it to function to full capacity, and that literally means that everybody rely coming to their Papa port. We just saw that Buhari opened the Lekki free zone in the last couple of months as well. Let me touch on reason why most of our produce are rejected. I've sat down here in UK. I just saw the governor of Oyo State, just done a business summit, and sometimes I just laugh at most of these, business summit. I've been around here for the last 24 years, and I've seen, Akeredolu, the Ondo State governor. I've been to London. They've taken them to different places. It's like when they come to London, I see them as a sightseeing. They are not really serious about business. Let's talk about the training. If you're gonna tell people to come and invest in Oyo State, one of the biggest capital city in Africa, and then the people are not even scratched from the kind of talent. So what do you expect? Netherlands is buying more of our cocoa beans, which is about the value of 40.6%, which is still very low, to the tune of $360 million. When you look at Ondo State, from the previous governor in the last 2 decades, of the democracy. The question is, why has Ondo not improved the quality of what is coming out as a cocoa farmer, but rather they are still fighting, between the governor and the cocoa farmer, because it's probably trying to sell the land, to some of their proxies and then eventually destroy the farm itself. The quality has been bad. You said Captain John. Myself and Captain John, I looked into, connecting Nigerians to the market here in UK. I'm talking about almost, 10 years ago. And today, we've not been able to achieve that. We went down to Spitalfield Market. It's one of the biggest market when it comes to, agricultural produce that is coming from around the world. Let me talk about the company that has also, I was one of the brand ambassador, and one of our major sponsor when it comes to Niger Voices at some point, called Oluolu. Oluolu is producing huge amount of plantain crepes. But do you know where the plantain crepes is coming from? It's not coming from Nigeria. It's coming from far away Nigeria. And the question is, the bureaucracy within the agriculture sector means that Nigeria is going nowhere. And if we're talking about just the packaging, we're talking about the quality. Captain John says we can't even identify the testing of the soil, so that if I'm going to tell somebody in UK that this is coming from Ogun State, we want to make sure that it is also organic. It's also traceable. Traceability is the right word I was using for. If I go to Tesco or any of these stores and I picked up a cashew nut, if anything happens to me, they need to be able to trace back where is the cashew nut coming from, where and which of the farm around the world. Nigeria is going nowhere, and it seems we've lost that part that Awolowo was trying to project during the regional government. And these are so many reasons why those that are calling for the breakup of Nigeria, the disintegration of Nigeria, is because it has literally taken us backwards. During the regional government, the same cocoa was used to build the southwest part of Nigeria, which is called the Yoruba land, when it comes to education, when it comes to healthcare, and so many things that we can continue to discuss. But today, we cannot even feed people, and we're talking about export.
Well, some people will think that, the population at the time when Nigeria had its independence and everything was a different ballgame. But now, looking at the number of people in the country, it makes it, cocoa cannot go round enough to sort our issues out for us, and whatever natural resources that we have doesn't go far enough to sort it out. What do you think about that?
Let's talk about cashew nut, part of our export in 2021. Vietnam is buying more of our cashew nut. Well, not enough to even up to 100%, because all these raw materials that are sent out of the country is not even up to 100%. We're talking about 80.1% to the tune of $315 million. Indian is buying more from 13.6% at about 53. The US is still buying. So that means there's demand for so many of our produce, like the cashew, export, cocoa nut, and the Brazilian nut and the cashew. But again, if we have not been able to train as many people that wants to go into farmer, and the other biggest obstacle is the jihadis that is creating the havoc, where farmers are being slaughtered on a daily basis, and that literally means that farmers are not even going to buy what they should be producing from their farmland.
Interestingly as well, we were talking about Captain John saying that you want to talk about the soil, the Nigerian soil, to other people, and you don't have, but the soil research industry in Nigeria, how is it robust? How robust is it?
Well, it's when you go to Anambra State, and the yellow pepper is one of the best in the world. But today, it can't get into our market. But when you go to the market, a lot of Nigerians end up buying the Uganda pepper, and you wonder why we should be buying the Uganda pepper when the yellow pepper that is so rich in terms of the testing and all that cannot be done brought into Europe or UK. But today, it is all about the awareness, the creation. But it seems that the northern part of Nigeria that has also been producing enough food, where a lot of Nigerians are buying from, the quality is not up to standard. But again, it's because they are being supported by their own government, and you wonder why there's less threat when it comes to their own farmland with the terrorists compared to the southeast and the middle belt and likewise the southwest. So it seems that in the north, maybe they're speaking a language that they can understand and their farmland is not destroyed. But the other part of the region, especially Benue State, we've seen a lot of destruction in that state.
Wow, listeners, Star Radio UK. In our North London studios, Mr. Olayomi Koiki, I'm Archie here, and we're bringing you updates from Nigeria. Now, Bishop Adesina says that that is the dilemma of the Nigerian government. Nepotism, and he's saying that about 20 investors bid for the building of a refinery. It was only Dangote whose was approved. Now, as to whether his bid was better, and what about the other refineries? Can they give it to private entities to run it, and then at least we can break even from there, at least?
Well, I think it's too late now because the damage, from not, looking after it for a very long time means that, if they're going to start afresh or, repair that, it's going to even cost more money. So they've actually just left it there, and the staff are still being paid. But again, is a wasted project, just like Ajaokuta, that should have been completed in the 80s. But today, Ajaokuta is still sitting there while a lot of Nigerians are struggling, to survive.
Well, listen, Star Radio UK. We don't have the resources, but we still continue to waste the little that we have. And they say, well, they are governing you, and we go vote for them. Interestingly, Well, now let's move on. The tribunal hearing. There's one thing that Atiku and Obi were advocating for. They wanted the public to see what is going on there and let them be judges for themselves. Doesn't matter what the judges there on the panel are going to come out, or the bench are going to come out with. But we had Shetima and Tinubu say, no, it is not a circus, it's not Nigeria Got Talent or whatever, so giving all reasons. But it looks like Oniyekan is backing calls for the broadcast of the tribunal proceedings. Who is Oniyekan, and why is it backing the calls?
Well, the tribunal is, you can't even get a phone in from what we're hearing. John Oniyekan, as the Catholic Bishop of Emeritus of Abuja, is a very, very critic of APC, has joined the call for a live broadcast of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal. It is in the interest of the judiciary to allow a live broadcast to be done. He told journalists yesterday after the Mass to mark this year 57th World Communication Day. Mr. Oniyekan came after the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, have asked the court to order a live broadcast of the tribunal proceeding. But on the 8th, Mr. Abubakar requested an order directing the court to register and the parties on the modalities for admission of media practitioners and equipment. But from the message coming out in Abuja, it seems that even that is not going to happen anytime soon. Isn't it why it is important that petition before the tribunal, the possibility, the tribunal should be available to all of us to be able to follow what is happening according to the Catholic leader.
Okay, let's see what happens there. But it's all coming your way from Star Radio UK. One other story, and I can leave Mr. Olayomi Koiki. Well, the UK is allegedly on the immigration front banning Nigerian students from bringing their families here during their time of studies. I don't get it, but well, because as Yomi has said, 128,770 Nigerian students jackpot within 7 years to the UK. Yomi.
UK is like is the destination for Nigerians, and because of our relationship with UK as a former colony as well. So as many Nigerians believe that the UK is those 6 hours is you can speak English as a way from going to France or Italy or Spain or Germany and start language. So that literally means that UK is the choice. And that is behind me. There is the Muritala Mohammed Airport, always bustling and busy, from the last time I traveled there. Yes, Japa is the word being used as we speak right now by so many Nigerians. But 128,000 Nigerians moved to UK in the last 7 years. So that means in the last 7 years of this government, more Nigerians have searched for better education. Last year, 8 months, as many Nigerians could not get to university, polytechnics, because there was a loggerhead between the federal government and some of the lecturers as well. The Nigerian student enrolled in university in the UK between 2015 to last year, according to the data that has been obtained from the Higher Education Statistics Agency of the UK, has revealed 128,000. But there's now the pressure here in UK, where the UK government is now saying, well, we love you to come to UK, but why not keep this your family in Nigeria rather than all traveling together? More than 61,000 family members of the Nigerian student arrived in 2022, and that shows that there's more pressure because when they come in, most of them have children. They will have to register to the local schools, and that means more pressure as well. But the UK government has now set a plan in motion to stop Nigerian students and other international students from bringing their families into the country.
Okay, we'll see what happens. We'll be telling you more about it as the days unfold. But Tony says communication gadgets are banned in court today. Ruling is 0. Oh, okay. That's pertaining to the tribunal. So they did that. No way. You cannot even take your mobile phone there. So you can communicate whatever is going on, the proceedings there. But it is all coming your way from Starr Radio, okay? 11:36 the time. And let me go back to Yomi for the rest of the stories making the rounds. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Archie. Once again, if you've joined us, this is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. As we monitor the weekend, I did monitor the G7 summit going on, and I think that day 2 was the focus around economy security, which I was then saying, do we talk about the economy security in Nigeria? Buhari leaves the legacy of the kidnapping, inflation, and the debt. That is the headline coming this morning as the BBC made this report known in the public yesterday. A week before President Muhammadu Buhari exit from the office, the BBC, in an analysis, says the president is leaving behind legacies of kidnapping, terrorism, and the mounting debt, which is rising very fast. And the next government will look for how to fund the budget, because already there's about 11 trillion deficit as we speak right now. When he steps down next week, President Muhammadu Buhari will be leaving Nigeria less secure, poorer, and more in debt than when he came to office in 2015. The former military ruler became president after winning a momentous election which saw the defeat of the underperforming incumbent Goodluck Jonathan. Riding a wave of optimism, the change was possible. The next level was mentioned. It was supported by a powerful coalition and had the reputation of being a hard-man soldier, but it seems that his soldier has become so weak that even he has to treat most of his illness here in London, which the last one was after the coronation of King Charles, where Buhari spent a week after. He is the last of the generation of the British-trained military men who went on to govern the country, but the 80 years or 4 years term have left many disappointed. There have been gains in tackling the Boko Haram and other extremist groups in the northeast that are aided by improved military hardware from the US. While the group still carries out attacks on community, Plateau State was on complete total devastation last week. It seems President Buhari has borrowed more money from the Chinese loan to upgrade the Healing Road and rail infrastructure. Right now, there's a court proceeding going on to say, where did we go wrong with the 460 million loan for CCTV in Abuja? And as we speak right now, 7 days before Buhari is going, there's no CCTV in Abuja, but Nigerians are still paying heavy price for the loan as well. So we're going to go straight and talk about more of that news, and then we go straight to the social media at 11:39. Nigeria has not defaulted in repaying the Chinese loan. It's coming from the DMO this morning as well. Also, don't judge me based on performance, as Minister Akpabio is saying as we speak as well. And likewise, the Presidential Poll Tribunal parties disagree as the court rules on a live broadcast today. So I think that is just coming in as well. Ahead of today's ruling on application for the live transmission of the proceeding of the presidential petition election, the PDP, the Labour Party, and the All Progressive have all disagreed over the need for the hearing to be broadcast by the media. It seems that somebody is just not comfortable with the broadcast of this transmission as well. So we take one more from this, from the news headline, and then we go straight to the social media. The World Bank extend federal government Nigeria Cares program by another 12 months. So what do we understand from that? From what we know, the minister stated that the additional advance will be given to the state after the independent verification agent assessed their performance in June. The Minister of State for Budget and National Planning, Clem Agba, says the World Bank has extended the federal government COVID-19 Action Recovery Economy Stimulus Program for another 12 months. So we're going to move straight to the social media. I want to use this opportunity to give accolade to the family of our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, has done a great job with the special counsel, Aloy Ejimako. I want Biafrans to give them a shout out with one love. That is the government in exile and the Prime Minister government in exile, Simon Ekpa, right there. African Confidential at Bumi_speak. Deliha, Dupe, Onira, Onidaru, Onijibiti, Onitiri kept everything about herself and her whereabouts secret so that when her lies finally got exposed, she will be safe from the backlash. None of the morons following her blindly know anything about her other than being MKO Abiola Olusho. Let's take more from what is happening on the social media. Victoria Island is trending. Tinubu is trending at about 20,000, and it seems that since he's the president-elect, let's go straight into that. But I think I should pick on what Showore is saying this morning as well. There's a lot going on in Nigeria, but the social media seems to be where everything comes up. The NDL is doing a lot by intercepting as many metal. This one was actually intercepted. The UK bond up to the tune of 5 billion worth of metal was arrested from a baron and also a Lekki mansion was sealed. We know that there's a lot of people that keep buying big cars in Nigeria, but most of them are involved in a lot of different drugs as well in the country. We want to pick up what Showore is saying this morning, then we go straight to Tinubu as well. Once again, Showore says President Buhari, who was the Minister of Petroleum Resources, who could not make 4 refineries work in 8 years, will be launching Dangote refinery today. Buhari and his goons on the oil sector, who killed the government-owned refineries, are now mobilizing to help Dangote open his own refinery. Wicked people. Hashtag revolution now. Hashtag Buhari the disaster. So that is from Showore there, one of our own on the Star Radio. Let's now go straight and see why Tinubu is trending at about 20,000 this morning. It is unconstitutional to swear in Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who did not meet the 25% spread requirement in the FCT on May 29. Nigerians should know that democracy will be undermined and the constitution breached if this happens. This is coming from Promise Monday at Promise Monday as well. The fake president at Boss Fred Marks. Immediately you spot a new chick in the church, like, retweet and follow. 25% in the FCT, and it seems Bola Tinubu is trending for do not swear Tinubu in. He didn't get 25% in the FCT. So it seems that more Nigerians are trending that this morning. Also, Pew Prince Will. This man wants to become the most useless president in Africa. Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been rejected by Nigerians. Shehu Ghazali Sadiq at Shehu Sheikh. Today is a good day to arrest Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the cocaine trafficker that destroyed the lives of the young people. So you can see that many Nigerians, and this one says 7 days to the May 29th inauguration. If the general election is held 100 times, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, the Idon Gogon of Africa, will still win over them all. This is coming from Ada Anambra. So you can see that Nigerians are so divided, especially after the 2023 election. I'm going to take it and come back again to you in the studio. That is how far we can go. But like we say, Nigeria not happened to us, and we fail with distinction. This is coming from Madi Shehu. In your 8 years of disaster, you elevated nepotism to the highest level. You were visibly selective in fighting corruption. You destroyed the economy, the politics, the cohesion. You are leaving us more disunited than you met us. You mortgage our life. And this is coming from Madi Shehu to President Muhammadu Buhari.
Well, interesting, because I know as the day goes by or before the inauguration, people will be trying to find out exactly what the president, his legacy has been. But a significant gathering of protesters has surged into the premises of the Court of Appeal in Abuja, where the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal is currently in session. Reports that the protesters brandishing placards adorned with various powerful messages demand justice and restoration of their stolen mandate from the controversial February 25 presidential election. Bola Tinubu, representing the ruling All Progressive Congress, was officially declared the victor of the 2023 presidential election. However, his triumph is being contested. But the question is, will the judges give the right judgment? Will they be free and fair? And that is on the lips of most people. Bishop Adesina says Tinubu is entering office to pay loan due for June. Now, loan payment he never prepared for. Then he will know the previous government is spent thrift. Okay, well, they've been spending left, right, center, as the BBC has alleged. But what do you think about all that? It is Starr Radio UK. 11:46 before we sign off. Some other listeners who sympathize with the Yoruba Nation and looking at everything that will be going on said, we've not heard much about the Yoruba Nation. Has there been any movements here and there? What has Dr. Sunday Igboho said? What have professors said? What are some of the things? Because I heard you talking about Onitiri, a few things there. So what has come from that point?
Well, as we know, in every movement, just as the Welsh had an independent march on Saturday, it was a complete full. I was watching that quietly, and we know that 2-3 weeks ago, while we were having the big event of the King coronation, the Scottish were having what we can call a full independent march as well. So what I've been said is, because of the current state of what is happening in Nigeria right now, there will not be any activities until just after the May 29. Not for any reason than the savior of the lives of so many Yoruba people. Remember that the last protest that we heard was not just compromised, by the version of Dupe Onitiri, but also those that want to destabilize the movement. So on the 9th of January was the last outing of the Yoruba people officially on the ground in Nigeria, in Lagos State, that led to the death of an individual as well. But in terms of the online, there's still a lot of education going on from the Yoruba world media and as many as well. On the other side as well, the YSDM continue to what we call, negotiation around the world, because the highlight of what we are saying, just as we said, during the G7 day 2, when they're talking about the economy, security economy, they're not concerned about the security of those that might end up invading Nigeria and then have a backlash, as we saw on the 13th of this month, where 4 those of individuals that are working with the American consulate in Nigeria were killed. The 3 have been rescued, which is a very good news. So in terms of the Yoruba nation, it is still about the education to so many reasons why we are better off, so that we don't end up being the Yazidis, where as many people are being killed by the jihadis as we speak today. So the Yoruba nation is still an ongoing, because just as we started, it was more. And the movement is not just today. The movement started from the day 1 that the British decided, for their own selfish interest and economic reason, join the Yorubas and the rest in 1914 amalgamation. So to upturn that, it will also involve a lot of dialogue if we do not want to go into a crisis or what we say another civil war. And from the Biafra, they continue the same engagement where they've set up their own government in exile, as we do know. But one thing is, a movement can also mean that it might take a bit of long time, but the result is the most important, and getting it right.
Wow. But has there been any movement from the camp of Tinubu to the Yoruba or the Igbo group, the IPOP group? Has there been any movement of the sort? Have you heard anything of the sort?
Well, Tinubu, like we say, won't do much until the power finally gets to him on the 29th. And yes, like we've said, there will be engagement with Tinubu because as the president, he would then have to listen to the Yoruba people, just as the letter that was sent to Buhari while Buhari was the president, though he didn't respond. So we hope that by the time Tinubu gets in on the 29th, the real dialogue, the real conversation on the Yoruba movement, presenting it to him from those representing the YSDM, which is the Yoruba Self-Determination Movement, will then kick in back, and that is expectation from so many Yoruba. But for now, it's all about the education. This was one of our beautiful rally there in Osun State, where the campaign that Chief Sunday Adeyemo, doctor, was taking to the people, telling them the reasons. And as you can see there wasn't any weapon apart from his mic that he was using to tell Nigerians, the Yorubas. But eventually Buhari wanted to assassinate him, but he was able to escape that, just as Buhari wanted to assassinate Nnamdi Kanu in 2017. And we hope that we won't see Tinubu coming in trying to take the same assassination method, but going through a dialogue way, which is always what the international community wants, rather than trying to eliminate those that are asking for the right to self-determination, which is under the African Union, and the 1514 resolution that was put together, even though 9 countries were not on the seat: UK, US, Spain, Australia, and South Africa, and also Canada, and the rest. 9 of them did not sit in 1914, December 14, for what would have been the declaration of the indigenous people.
Well, listeners, interesting development from there. But will Tinubu be able to galvanize the whole country together? Maybe he hailing from the southeast, the southwest. Maybe he will think that these are my people. If I'm able to bring them on board, maybe that will help us solve whatever thing that is going on, seem to address or redress whatever their concerns are as minority groups, or no, I wouldn't call them those who feel marginalized in the country. How is it going to be? We'll all be following it very, very closely. But Tony says Tinubu will borrow money and share like Buhari's gang. What do you think? Yomi, before you go.
Well, it is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. This is where you can get the authentic news from the Caribbean, the Africa, and the most important thing is it is Monday to Friday, but at exactly 11 o'clock, the rest assured that the Nigerian news headline comes in full details as we continue to monitor the situation on the ground. I'll leave you in the good hands of Archie for the rest of the program. And as we always say, Starr Radio UK is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Bye for now.
Bye. Okay, don't go away. Let me bring you my lovely tune that I've selected this morning for all those of you who feel marginalized. This is from Janet, and it says, Orilla Demi and my nation or my country. So wherever you are, enjoy that tune, and we will be back to continue with other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world. Stay tuned. Talk dog. Well, Bishop Adesina says Naira fall to Ruba currency yesterday, 21st of May, by 150 Naira more. Oh, wow. So is the Ruba currency working at all? Is it in circulation? What are we doing? What is being done about it? Bishop, let us know.
This is Starr Radio UK.
In your car,
at work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
Starr Radio. Radio for the people, by the people.
Ọmọ ojú wa dìde, ó sì bàbá rẹ̀. Èmi ọ̀pọ̀ lọ́kọ̀ fáráyé, èmi ò sọ nípa orílẹ̀-èdè mi. Ohun tí mo fẹ́ ni mo fẹ́ o, èmi fòmìnira orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá. Mi ọ̀pọ̀ lọ́kọ̀ fáráyé, èmi ò sọ nípa orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá. Ohun tí mo fẹ́ ni mo fẹ́ o, èmi fòmìnira orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá. Ìlú tán lọ́rùn fẹ́ lọ lọ́rùn yọ. Èyí tó yàn ló tún ṣe lọ́gọ́. Bàbá fẹ́ wá, ó tún yọ wá. Wọ́n ṣe wá lóko, ó tún wá fà lọ́mọ nísìn. Èmi ọ̀pọ̀ lọ́mọ aráyé, èmi ò sọ nípa orílẹ̀-èdè mi. Ohun tí mo fẹ́ ni mo fẹ́ o, èmi fòmìnira orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá. Mi ọ̀pọ̀ lọ́mọ aráyé, èmi ò sọ nípa orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá. Ohun tí mo fẹ́ ni mo fẹ́ o, èmi fòmìnira orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá. Ọlọ́run dìde, jọ̀wọ́ má ṣe wòran mọ́. Ìyà ìsọ̀kẹ́ kò pọ̀jù lórílẹ̀-èdè. Ṣé bí wọ́n ló gbé àwọn ebèrú dìjà? Bàbá mi dìde, jọ̀wọ́ jẹ́rìí ara rẹ̀.
Okay, listeners, Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. From Jeanette, is it already me, my nation, wherever you are. I hope that you're devoted to the nation that you belong to. What about that? Now, Kehinde says, well done, Starr Radio UK. Kehinde, we salute you. We hope you are doing very, very well. Have a lovely day. And as I will say on this platform, may Nigeria not happen to you. We take a commercial break, and once we come back, we continue with the program. Stay tuned. Don't you go away. There's going to be lots coming your way from all other parts of the world, from archaeology to zoology, from Accra to Zanzibar. If it's making the headlines, why not? We're going to be touching on it. Stay tuned. Don't touch the dial.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Reggae dancehall taking over, Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancehall taking over, Yo, what's up, people? This is a boy Raskin Bobo One. Tune in every day, every night at the Starr Radio UK with the big man them Archie. When I say Orta, you say fire.
Okay, so that's fire on the mountain. Welcome back to the program, Starr Radio UK. Yes, Bishop Adesina. Thank you very much, my bishop. He says, well, that is the. I want to pronounce the name well. The Ruba. Yes, the Ruba is a virtual currency and it's on being traded on the crypto. Yes, and it's called the YNRT, Yoruba Nation Ruba Token. So you can buy those tokens there. So it's a good one there. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. Taking a step into the future. Wherever you are, start or thinking ahead of time. Wherever you are, Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. All right then. 12 o'clock the time. Let me now announce. The lines I will come back to read the other. Bishop Adesina said Ruba is not listed yet. It can only be annexed in our 8 virtual banks presently. Okay, it is a fixed currency. It sells for $12 US value. It uses the TRC20 network. Okay. Thanks for that. I hope that one of the days during the Niger Voices, we'll try to see whether we can link you up, and then you can give more, throw more light on that, shine more light on that when we have Mr. Olayomi Koiki, and then we can all listen to it. It is something good. Why not? I like that song from Jeanette Orele-Demi, and because I say that it's something to do to support what you believe in. So if it's your nation, you go on and get on with it. All right then. So if you want to join in the conversation, it is call us on 0208-133-2257 or 58-0208-133-2257 or 58. Happen to be in the US, Canada, or the Caribbean area, it is 001-718-303-2737, 001-718-303-2737. You can text or WhatsApp us 0753-966-1744, 0753-966-1744. Our Twitter handle is @Starr Radio UK, and email address is info@starradiouk.com. So stay tuned, don't touch the dial. Starr, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. All right, now let's move on to some other stories making the rounds on the African continent. All right then. Okay, so the youngest Senegalese film director has been breaking barriers at the Cannes Festival. It's quite an interesting one. The youngest film director in this year's Palme d'Or race, who is a French Senegalese director, Ramata Toulaye Sai, presented her first film, Banel and Adama, on Saturday. Now, born in France to Senegalese parents, she brought out this romance as a tribute to her African culture and also to fill a gap in the film landscape. All I wanted, little by little, was really deconstruct this vision of Africa that we have, even on the place of women in relation to Banel, and that's why she's an unsympathetic character. She's not the smooth, oppressed black African woman who seeks help, who we expect Banel. I know she's very unsympathetic, and a lot of people kind of like her, and so much the better. It is completely assumed. That's also why we wanted to deconstruct all the codes we knew about cinema and Africa, said Ramata Toulaye Sai, a French Senegalese director. Now, is it because she was born in France and she lived in France? That is why she's had that. If she were in Africa at that age, are we going to see her blossom to what she has been, having the chance to be on this platform? Or our leaders will try to do everything, put impediments away to stop her? Okay, it is all Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, Mauritania's ruling party wins majority seats in local and legislative polls. The story said the ruling party in Mauritania scored a comfortable victory in last week's legislative and local elections, according to official results on Sunday. A litmus test for the veteran head of state ahead of the next year's presidential poll. The elections were the first since 2019, when President Mohamed Ould Ghazouani came to power. He has overseen the West African country's relative stability in the increasingly violent Sahel region, and is widely expected to seek re-election in 2024, although he has not confirmed his plans. Now, Ghazouani's Insaf party was the favorite to win among 25 parties vying for the backing of the country's 1.8 million voters. Now, El Insaf took 80 of the 176 seats in Parliament, announced the head of the Independent Electoral Commission, Dar Abdul Jalil. Now, 36 other seats went to parties allied to the president and 24 opposition, 9 of them to the Islamist Tiwaso movement. The Tiwaso, which is seeking a strict application of Islamic law, was the main opposition group in the outgoing parliament, in which El Insaf had a comfortable majority. There will be a runoff vote on May 27 for the remaining 36 parliamentary seats. It is all coming away from Starr Radio UK. Updates coming away from the African continent as well. Now, authorities in French Indian Ocean island of Mayotte on Monday began demolishing homes in a large slum in an operation against substandard housing and illegal migration. Now, they get started destroying Majikavo slums at early Monday morning as part of Operation Wambushu, Take Back in the local language, which the French authorities first tried to launch last month. The affected families on Sunday began picking their precious belongings in anticipation of Monday's demolition by the authorities. We are in the process of dismantling the houses because we were told that tomorrow, Monday, or that's today, they will destroy the houses. Now that we know that everything is going to be destroyed, we are trying to recover everything that we can be saved. We took the case to court. The first time, we beat them. The second time, we beat them. The third time, we beat them. And for the fourth time, they made this decision, even though our house was one of the houses that were not affected by the demolition decision. There were 21 families who were not affected by the destruction. And in the end, we are told that everything will be destroyed, said Ahmed Daud Talos, 2. Shantytown resident. Wow, a sad one there. So where are they going to relocate them? Now, if they think they know how to deal with such situation, why haven't they dealt with those people at the beaches at the Channel crossings? Why haven't they done that? And people are living in the bushes. Is it because they are living that part of the country? They are part of the country and therefore that is okay. But when it comes to where they think that they are living and these people are coming in, they are now destroying them. Their houses or places of abode. What do you think about all that? It's all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. One other story from the African front and then we can move on from there. Now, divided Cameroon celebrates National Unity Day. Now, Cameroon, let me see who is in this picture. Is that the wife of the president? I wish you can see the picture that I'm seeing. Now, Cameroon has been celebrating 51 years as a unified nation with a military and civilian parade on National Unity Day in its capital, Yaoundé. Now, for all but 10 of those years, it has been ruled by just one man, President Paul Biya. And at 91 old, he is now the oldest head of state in the world. Someone has said that then Biden is cool with the systems and everything in their particular part of the world working. Why should we worry about him? If he stumbles a bit, that is okay. The country is now less united than ever. Thousands of people have been killed since 2016. And over 1 million people displaced after a group of Anglophone Cameroonians began to fight Biya's Francophone government. And let me take the opportunity to say good morning to Dr. Akwanga. Now, some of those who watch the parade sounded optimistic about their country's future and welcomed the day. It is to remind that we are one people. It is to remind that it's together that we can build and develop. It is to remind that it's together that we can be happy. It's together that we can live in peace, said Therese Temgua, a Francophone Cameroonian who is a bank executive. Of course, that is what he's going to say. The question is, Are people being treated the same way? Or do people feel marginalized? That is the big question. Now, it takes only a few who think that I'm getting everything, I'm living in a mansion, not in that sense, I'm not literally, but everything is good, whatever I want I get, and as I want out. But when people feel marginalized and they think that they are not being given fair chance to get to wherever that they want to get to when it comes to their profession, their destinies, their health, and everything about them, then people think that we think we can manage ourselves in our own way, shape, or form. And that is why we have most of the African countries or colonies, former colonies of various advanced countries, decided that, look, we want out. Because they think that some way, somehow, they were being marginalized. So when you have people in your own country or your backyard saying that we don't feel that same way, and you say, together we are strong, together, and people still feel that they're being marginalized, then where are you coming from? Okay, so what are governments going to do about what is Paul Biya going to do about that? Will he say, straight the olive branch to them, and just say, you know what? We think that you need developments and everything to bring you to the place where, everyone in the country, at least we are on the same strata or the same place. So people don't feel that because I live in this particular part of the country where it's not Francophone, but it's Anglo, so I'm being marginalized. And the same thing happens. It applies to Nigeria, where we have the Igbos and the Yorubas, and some people saying that they don't feel that they are being treated fairly as citizens. They feel marginalized. But what do you think about all that? So I'll come your way from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, and it is now 11 minutes past the top of the hour. That is 11 minutes past 11. And now I take you straight to Ghana, where it's all unraveling as well. A by-election is supposed to take place in Kumawu, in Ghana. Now, Kumawu by-election, EC changes symbol of independent candidate. The letter Kenoforiata and Dr. N. Okay, my apologies. Let me bring it up. The Electoral Commission has described as fake the notice of poll circulating on social media platform claiming to be related to the upcoming Kumawu by-election. The notice, which have been widely shared, purported to be an official announcement from the EC, has the photos of two independent candidates wearing kente cloth and said candidates have the symbol of a bird. However, the EC, in a statement issued on Sunday, clarified that no such notice has been issued by their office. Now, while categorically indicating that the story is untrue, EC urged the public to disregard it. For the information of the public, both independent candidates presented photographs of themselves in kente and a picture of a bird as their symbol to our district offices in Kumawu. Now, based on this, a draft notice of poll bearing the photograph of the independent candidates with similar names, attires, and symbols was prepared and submitted to the commission for approval. It was neither approved by the commission nor gazetted. A notice of poll becomes legal and binding only after it's been gazetted. Now, the version circulating on the social media was never gazetted. It was a mere draft reflecting their photographs and symbols presented to the district office. Part of the statement read. So, where they're saying that, you know what? Whatever you are saying is not the real McCoy. So, just disregard it. The EC further noted that it had to apply the public elections regulations and assign the second independent candidate a hole as a symbol after he refused to heed advice to change his symbol. So the independent candidates decided that they're all going to be using the same. We all want to be birds. Interesting. Now the EC assured the public that they are actively investigating the origin of the fake notice and will take appropriate action against those responsible for its creation and dissemination. Okay, well, it's already okay. But what do you think is going to be? Who is going to win that election? Well, it looks like the president is saying that the Kumawu by-election is a test case for the 2024 elections, and that will show how the ruling government is going to whip all the other parties on that front. But what do you think about all that? So come your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. 12:15 the time. It's at 12:30. I'll be taking you to Cyprus, where the one and only Linda Pallien is. And today we're going to be looking at, I'm going to tell you more about that as the program goes on. But whatever you are, wherever you are, and whatever you're doing, continue to stay glued to your sets and listen to us on Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay. So the by-election things is still going on. It's been captured all around. Okay, the clarification by the EC is still going on. But the President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo had told party faithfuls that he will hand over power to a successor from his party, the New Patriotic Party, when his tenure expires in January 2025. The president is reported to have made the comments during the MPP final rally ahead of the highly anticipated by-election in the Kumawu constituency of the Ashanti region. The pro-government daily newspaper edition of today's edition with a banner headline and hand over power to MPP Nana Akufo-Addo is by his comment suggesting that the MPP will win the 2024 elections, and by that break the eight, a terminology that the party has coined as it aims to win a historic third consecutive term in office under the current constitution. The last time the president spoke about handing over, he expressed the wish to hand over to an MPP successor at a prayer and Thanksgiving service at the National Mosque in Accra after a party's national leadership election. In the recent past, Agriculture Minister Brian Achampong hugged news headlines when he claimed that the MPP was never going to hand over power to the NDC, warning that the party will match the main opposition if they try any foolishness. So it is inferring that, well, whatever you do, whatever you guys want, I'm going to make sure that we hand over to our own. Is that what he's trying to put across? As Brian Champon, what? A security expert has said there. Okay. This all coming away from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Bringing the time now, 17 minutes past the top of the hour. Well, interestingly, the tension is getting high in Kumawu as the by-election draws near. Big wigs of the two major political parties, the New Patriotic and the National Democratic Congress, have visited Kumawu constituency to interact with the residents and also convince them to vote for their parties. A new video that has surfaced on the internet captures the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the governing New Patriotic Party, Bernard Nchubo Siakon, otherwise known as Chairman Wontumi, kneeling and begging electorates to vote for their candidates, Ernest Yao Enim, in the upcoming by-election on May 23rd. That is tomorrow, 2023. In a 30-second video shared on Twitter and cited by some networks, Wontumi is heard telling the people to vote for Ernest Yao Enim to be the replacement of the deceased MP in Parliament. The late New Patriotic Party MP Philip Basso, who died on March 27, was buried on Saturday, May 20, 2023. It is expected that after the burial, the Electoral Commission will conduct the Kumawu by-election on May 23rd. Philip Basso died at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, where he had been on admission for a serious ailment. Okay, so What do you think is going to happen there? Well. More coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, last week I did talk about Anas, the investigative journalist. Now, lawyer Ralph Ejepong, brother cum lawyer for Kennedy Ejepong, the member of parliament for Asin Central constituency, has raised concerns about the basis on which investigative journalist Anas Anas was granted witness status in the case of the Public versus Kwesi Nyantakyi, a former Ghana Football Association. According to him, Anas' absence from the infamous number 12 expose, which formed the basis of the Nyantakyi prosecution, undermines his claim as a principal witness. Now, he was speaking last Friday that a witness is expected to possess first-hand information or knowledge about the matter at hand. He pointed out that Anas was absent from the documentary in question, casting doubt on his qualification as a witness in the case. Now, Japan expressed his confusion, asking why Anas would testify about the situation in which he did not feature. But maybe he has got first-hand information. So is that what they're trying to do? They kill the main witness, the witness, and then they said that, well, he is dead, so we have to quash the case. Is that what is happening? It is Starr Radio, okay? One other story, and then we move on. And this pertains to the letter Ken Ofori-Atta and Dr. Ernest Addison wrote to the IMF boss for liquidity support. As Ghana receives an IMF Executive Board approval, let's look at the letter the Finance Minister wrote. Now, following 3 years of strong and sustained macroeconomic performance, Ghana has been hit by major external shocks over the period of 2020 to 2022. These have heightened pre-existing vulnerabilities and pushed the economy into crisis. In particular, the twin impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic and the war in Ukraine have weakened public finances significantly and contributed to a rapid and steep increase in inflation. These shocks have also been compounded by a tightening of financing conditions both globally and locally, which in turn have compromised efforts at attaining fiscal and debt sustainability. This development have eventually resulted in a loss of international market access and increasing difficulties in rolling over maturing domestic public debt instruments, thus accelerating the negative feedback loop of decreasing international reserves, cedi depreciation, rising inflation, and plummeting investor confidence, and making our public debt unsustainable. If I want to go on, I'll go on and on and on and on and on. But do you really think that that is what the cause of what we're seeing there is? Was the mismanagement only over a period of that 2020 to 2022 that you're talking about? What did they put in place? The size of government. What has gone on there? Well. A lot more going to be coming your way from there. It is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. I need to quickly run up before I take you to Cyprus. But when it comes to some other parts of the world, the story is making the round there. Wagner vows to hand Bakhmut to Russia army by June. But they were saying that they had conquered everything. The head of Russia's Wagner mercenary group has vowed to transfer control of Ukrainian city of Bakhmut to Russia army by June 1. Now, Wagner founder Yevgeny Prigozhin claimed to have captured Bakhmut on Saturday, but Kyiv says it still controls parts of the city. Now, Ukraine says its troops are still advancing on the outskirts of Bakhmut, but Mr. Prigozhin said his troops will start handing over the city to the Russian army on Thursday. Now, Wagner will leave Atmovisk from 25th of May to the 1st of June, Mr. Prigozhin said in an audio recording on Telegram. Bakhmut was previously known as the Atmovisk in honor of a Soviet revolutionary before Ukraine renamed it. He said Wagner has set up defense lines on the west of the city ahead of the transfer. But Ukraine's deputy defense minister Hanna Malia reiterated that its forces still have a small foothold inside the city and advancing on the outskirts, adding that the intensity of the movement had reduced. It's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, Roman Pratsovich, Belarus pardons activist held off flight. Do you remember him? A Belarusian opposition activist arrested after his Ryanair flight was forced to land in the capital Minsk has been pardoned, state media has said. Roman Pratsovich was held off his flight and arrested on charges of inciting unrest in May 2021. Earlier this month, he was sentenced to 8 years in prison. It is not immediately clear what the pardon means for his jail sentence, which state media previously reported will be served in a penal colony. Now, the charges Mr. Pratsovich was sentenced for include organizing mass riots, calling for sanctions against Belarus, creating or leading an extremist group, and conspiring to seize power. He was arrested alongside his girlfriend, Russian citizen Sofia Sapega, in May 2021 after his flight from Greece to Lithuania was suddenly diverted to Minsk by Belarusian air traffic control. They claim there was a bomb threat. Now, he was then held from the plane and arrested. The arrest caused an international outcry and led to the EU imposing sanctions against Belarusian leader Alexander Lukashenko. Western countries accused Belarus of hijacking the Ryanair plane under pretext of the bomb threat. But he's been pardoned. We'll be telling you more about that. God willing, maybe tomorrow, right? Well, the Prime Minister was in Japan for the G7 meeting. I've had a bit of a problem there. But Rishi Sunak is to consult the ethics advisor later about Suella Braverman's handling of a speeding offense. The Home Secretary was caught speeding in 2022 and asked the civil service for advice about arranging a private speed awareness course. He didn't want to go to the speed awareness course with somebody like you or I, who might have maybe been caught by the speed cameras and saying, "Now, you are overspeeding, and therefore I have to go for a refresher course." He said, "Can I have a private one where I will only be in the class and then go through everything there?" Well, Mrs. Braverman was Attorney General at the time. A government source denied her action broke the ministerial code. Now, Labour leader Keir Starmer said it looked like inappropriate action took place. The Home Secretary is under scrutiny not over the speeding offence itself, but over whether she acted properly in relation to the civil service over the one-to-one speed awareness course. She is busy. She needs a one-to-one tuition so that you can enter into a brace properly. What about that? Okay, after being caught speeding, Miss Braverman faced losing 3 points on her license and a fine or a course as part of a group. Well, the lady who likes to speed. What about that? Listeners, this is where I bring the first part of the program to a close. But God willing, tomorrow we're going to become your way with another edition of the morning show. But now, let me take you straight to Cyprus, where we've got our one and only Linda Pallien, who is going to be bringing us Career 101. But let us enjoy, take this commercial break, and I bring you that. Stay tuned.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Okay, welcome back, and it's now time for us to bring you the one and only Career 101 with the one and only HRH Linda Pallien, all the way from Cyprus, who have joined us this afternoon. And let me say, Linda, good afternoon to you. Hello, Linda.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yes.
Good.
How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
Yeah, doing very, very well. And how was your weekend as well?
Oh, it was very relaxing. Didn't do anything.
Oh, that's a good one. At times we need just that break, just to ease, So that's a good one there. That's a good one. Hope Mr. Pallien is doing very well.
Absolutely, he is. Thanks for asking.
Great. Okay, now what are we looking at today?
Today we're tackling a very interesting subject, especially for me. But really, these are general life skills that are especially useful in your career, of course, because this is Career 101. But also 11 skills that are hard to learn, but pay off big time throughout the course of your life. So it's not for a particular job, but necessary key skills that all the successful people have to master at some point.
So 11 skills that are hard to learn, but you definitely need it. Whatever you do, if you want to get to the top, you definitely need that. Okay, interesting. Let me ask you one of the skills. Now we talk about Emma Raducanu, who has won the US Opens, and then I was asking myself the question, when she was playing last time, during the summer in Wimbledon, and then she went out, saying that she had some cramps or some pain, something of the sort, and then she left. I was of the view that no, she's not got the mental agility at all, so she cannot go that very far. But well, she's proved me wrong, and many others who were also of that assertion. P.S. Morgan, you were also saying the same, and I also said the same. But it looks like she's proved that. Is it one of the things that you think somebody would need? One of the skills that somebody would need to go up there?
Absolutely, that resilience, and if you ever doubt that you would be successful, just look for a sense of resilience, or when you've ever been resilient. And I love that example, and I'll give you another example, which happened about 2 weeks ago at one of my events here. And I thought, you know what, this is the hallmark of a successful person. I mean, having worked in the industry and with a lot of high income earners, I get to see some of the traits that are similarities between these people. But on this particular occasion, we had our event for the women's club that I run. I invited women from all over the island, from all walks of the world. And these are super powerful women who have businesses international. And this one particular lady, she lived about 2 hours away. So she'd had to drive to come all the way to the event, and then go again. And because it was a women's only event and she doesn't really drive at night, she really wanted to be there. And I said, okay, it's a women's only event, so your husband can't be there, so he has to drop her off and pick her up. She was running late, got to the event after having her husband having driven her 2 hours there, got there, and because she was running, she fell just before she got to the event, hit her head, and had a concussion.
Gosh.
I felt terrible about it, and it really ruined it for me once I found out. But then we got the ambulance, and they came to get her, and she went to the hospital, and she was seen to. And all through the event, I was feeling a bit guilty, for having got this person all the way only to not be able to join the event.
Wow.
Would you believe that she got discharged, and instead of going home, came
to the event? Wow.
Because she said, I said I was going to be here, and I got discharged, and I was going to be here, even if I came at the end just to say I was here.
Wow. That's a very, very wonderful example, because I mean, most of us would have just folded our arms and said, that is it, it is over, let me just go. But for people to have that tenacity, that mental agility to say, I'm going to still go on, pursue my dreams and still get what I targeted to get that day. Wow. Kudos to her. Yeah.
And I exactly what you said. I thought, you know what, this is a difference between the average person and people that succeed. It was the embarrassment of falling down in front of 50 people. Even just the embarrassment alone, let alone that you're hurt and your makeup is everywhere, and these people who are somewhere that are going to judge you. But putting all that aside, just your goal, regardless of the cost, I thought, okay, well, if anything ever happens, literally when you fall down, you get up again, and that a version of that, and I really. Yeah. I applaud her. Well done. Good. Okay, so what are some of the others? Right. So I'll share these with you. I'll elaborate on them, and I'll also share with you who I learned these skills from. And the 11th skill is one that I've thrown in there, but I think it's definitely worth having. So the first one is public speaking. And Warren Buffett says this. Who everyone knows who Warren Buffett is, and if you don't know, Google it. Yeah. But he says the ability to be able to stand up and speak in public and to be able to command the attention of an audience, it's a skill that will get you places. You know, it'll open doors for you. It'll build your skills in terms of being convicted about something. Convicted? I think that's the word. Like convicted about something enough to be able to stand up and speak in front of people.
Yeah.
And the confidence and being able to hold everyone's attention and knowing that you have something to say. So public speaking skills is number one for Warren Buffett. The next one is from Mark Cuban, who says, he talks about competitions, but what I really got about it is don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to yourself. The easiest person to lie to is yourself. The easiest person to fool is yourself. You can convince everyone, because this person happened and because I had so many tragedies, this is why I'm not successful. Because I study this, blah, blah, blah. And Mark Cuban talks about this in terms of competition. You think, everyone else is up for promotion, and all of these people have been in the industry longer than me, so I won't stand a chance. Or I am the best in the field because maybe I deliver faster, I deliver better. I'm the world's number one or the number two person, or the personal touch when I sew my garments, that I'm the best taker. He says, look, you were saying you're number two, and that's a lie to yourself, because guess what? Number three isn't sitting there going, oh yes, I'm number three and I'm happy with it.
Yeah. Working on it. Coming past you.
He's working to move you off your spot.
Yeah.
So then be like, I'm the best, and it's a continuous process. The earlier you're honest with yourself about what your shortcomings are, what you can do better, and keep improving rather than lying to yourself, the easier it will be for you to be able to move forward. And this comes with jobs as well. My job is safe because I do so much, they can never replace me.
Yeah.
Just like that, you're replaced. Even if the person is not as good as you, you're still replaceable.
Yeah.
Don't lie to yourself. And this is from Mark Cuban. The third one is Robin Sharma. Be confident. Be confident. And confidence sounds like such an easy skill and something that you can put on, but there's a difference really with faking it till you make it and being convinced of the idea so much so that you're willing to bet everything on the line for it. And I always use Elon Musk as an example of being confident that even though this company is not making money forever, you're gonna still pitch your business plan and keep your investors on board because you are so bought into it that you bring others around even if they don't see results. And to relate to people, it's like confidence is almost like having faith, right? Like having faith is Jesus Christ and the heaven and all of that stuff. It's that I know I'm going to be successful. I know this book is good enough. I know this is going to help people. And being so convinced about it that people say, she must know something. That's what, like, she must know something, or she believes in it so much, I believe in it too. So do you have confidence in yourself enough to be able to convince other people of your idea or what you're going to do? And if you're not, then ask yourself if it's the right thing for you. Be confident. The fourth one, which I think is quite interesting, is by Simon Sinek, which says, speak last. Speak last. And he uses Nelson Mandela as an example, but I really want to use Ghanaian traditional chiefs as an example. And so any tribal family, if you go to the chief's palace, you have everyone that speaks their side before the chief rules on it. And someone asked Nelson Mandela how he became a good leader, since he's arguably one of the world's greatest leaders. And he said he came from a tribe, and his father was one of the people in the palace. And the chief always spoke last. And he says, whether you agree with someone or disagree with someone, don't shake your head, don't nod, just listen. And it's a twofold benefit. First, everyone a chance to be heard first. If you're a leader, it doesn't mean that you speak first, and then later on ask people what they think, because you've already influenced what they think. I tell, oh, this is the plan, what do you think? But if you hear everybody's side, then you're able to, one, understand where everyone's coming from. It's as a leader. What's his name? Simon Sinek always says, speak last, and you'll be in a better position to be able to be better informed about what's going on, what people really feel concerns. Even if you already have your mind made up, you'll be able to know where people are at. So that's the fourth one. Okay, well, we'll run a little bit. The fifth one is by Bishop T.D. Jakes. I think a lot of people would know him. And it's talking about using your time effectively. Use your time effectively. And this one hit me hard. I felt like I was in church. Using your time effectively. He says, so there's the 80-20 principle. He uses that in this example when he says, most people spend only 20% of the time doing things that they're great at, that they're excited about, doing their passions or things that they're meant to be doing. And 80% of the time you're busy doing nothing, taking a phone call, browsing the internet, whatever it is, but you're not working on your zone of genius. And he says creativity takes time. So you need to make the time to create things. And they said there's no lack of money, just a lack of creativity. And if you're investing your time in creating stuff, then you're not going to move forward. So it's really understanding where your time is spent and adjusting it to suit your goals and your dreams. And this might mean saying no to other things. This might mean depriving yourself of something else to be able to work towards that dream. So you can't get time back. It was like money you can get back, anything back, time.
Scarce commodity. Very, very scarce commodity. Well, listeners, HRH Linda Pallien this afternoon bringing you Career 101, and we are looking at 11 skills that are hard to learn but very essential you lose it or you miss it, you're not going to go very far. So please continue to listen to her. Let me acknowledge Ibrahim Bolagade, and he says good, thumbs up to you, because he is enjoying what you're saying at the moment. And to every one of you listening to what, share the broadcast, is very, very important. But I promise you one thing, it will be on our Facebook page, on our Twitter, and all the social media platforms as well. On our apps, it's going to be on the podcast as well. But we still got a long way to go. So continue to listen to us as she unfolds the 11 skills that are hard to learn but essential. Over to you, Linda.
So the next skill is quit complaining. Complaining, and this is by one of my favorite people, Ian Lavanta. She's an African American lady, and she says the amount of time we spend complaining about something, bitching, whining about something, is a lot more than we actually realize. You know, why did this happen? Who did this? Why wasn't it done this way? You know, I can't do this because of that. And all the time we spend moaning about something, even the littlest of things, it takes away the time that can be put in creating and being productive. Because when you're moaning about something, you're not asking, how can I make it better? You're asking, why is it happening? And there's a saying that says, if you ask a stupid question, you'll get a stupid answer.
Of course.
Why did this happen to me? Why? Well, why not?
Why not you? Who do you want it to happen to?
And she no whining Wednesdays. So on a Wednesday you can't complain about anything.
Okay.
And if you put a quarter in a jar. And she said, do it for one Wednesday and see how often, how many quarters you've amassed, or how many pennies, 50s, whatever it is for you, you've amassed. And it's just to visually see the time we spend complaining rather than finding solutions to everyday challenges that we face. So definitely I'll encourage you, even if you're not doing the quarters, just to note or listen, if not for yourself, but other people. And why, or you complain about something. And that includes, oh, I'm tired, I'm sleepy, I can't do this, I'm hungry. That's all whining. Our sixth skill is be present. Be present. A lot of, especially at work, a lot of us are at work, but our minds aren't there. A lot of us are here in the moment, but our minds are, what's for dinner? Am I going to go shopping over the weekend? I'm going to do these plans. Or yesterday I did this, could I have done that better? And then basically the past puts you in, looking into the past puts you in for a lot of regrets and reflection, but you can't change it. You spend a lot of time in the future, it just makes you anxious. But if here and now, you can control the present and what you're doing, and you can do it to the best of your ability. So really being present and conscious about doing the best you can in the given moment and not worrying about the future or the past helps you to make the most of every given moment that you realize. It's not the easiest thing to always live in the present, but to bring as often as possible. That's what meditation is, right? Or being conscious, bringing yourself back to the now and making yourself aware that, okay, now in this current moment, I'm on Starr Radio and I'm doing my best, and that is enough. Or I'm listening to this and I'm fully listening rather than checking my phone and half listening, or something else, or planning the next whatever is to come. Again, there was another one for me. And then one of my favorite ones by Arianna Huffington is get enough sleep.
That will be in the next life.
Get enough sleep. And I thought, how is this a good business skill and all of that stuff? But she explains that if you don't prioritize the sleep and you wake up tired, or you wake up not having had enough, then it gives rise to all of what we've spoken about. You know, you're not the best version of yourself there. You're not present because you just want to go back to bed. And she says, and that involves saying no to things. She says a lot of the time she does a book signing or a speaking engagement, and of course there's a party after for her, or somebody wants to take her out to dinner. And she said it's the hardest thing to say no. Yeah. No, I need to go to bed. And it's not because she doesn't want to be there, it's because prioritizing that sleep means that for the next morning she's well rested and she can be her best the next day too, rather than partying into the night and then living on borrowed time.
Yeah. Well, you cannot give your best when it comes to that. You cannot. No way.
Exactly. And so for all my people that go out on the weekend and Sunday night and are not their best on a Monday or on a weeknight, it's not just because you're hurting your boss. You're building up this character that becomes your habit. A lot of the time, employees think that the only person that's suffering is their boss. You know, if I sleep on the job or rest on the job just because I'm tired, I will make up for it another day or whatever. And yes, you might be able to get away with it at work, but in your subconscious, you're programming yourself to be that person.
Yeah.
That is hard to do, and that's more damaging. The sales call that you didn't do, or whatever you think is harming your boss by you not being present. And then last but one is have empathy. Have empathy. And empathy, as opposed to sympathy, is when you feel sorry for someone, you sympathize with them, you know, but when you're sympathizing with them, you're feeling their pain, or you understand their pain. When you're empathizing with them, you put yourself in that person's shoes to feel what they're doing. So sympathy is external to you, empathy is embody that. Meryl Streep, again, a huge celebrity actress, and she says empathy is one of the skills that you will forever need in whatever business you do, whatever career you do, to be able to empathize with someone else. It gives you a level of understanding of people and consciousness that you wouldn't if you don't hone the skill of empathy. You know, if you can put yourself in your boss's position, you can understand maybe why you're not getting your pay rise just yet. If you can, in your customer's position, you can serve them better because you can understand their needs and their worries. And yes, they're screaming in your face, but you can imagine what's going on and sort of deal with the root cause of the issue rather than the outcome of it. Put yourself in the shoes of your patients. If you put yourself in the shoes of your cleaner, if you put yourself in the shoes of your spouse, it helps to build that human relationship, which means you can build a deeper connection, and they get to know, like, and trust you, and you can have a better working relationship. You can negotiate higher. You can sell anything to anybody. You know, understanding people is a top skill. Empathy and being as empathetic as possible really stands you in good stead for success. And finally, and this is by Linda Pallien.
I love that one.
And I think I've touched on it a little bit when I was talking about empathy, but it's learn about people. Learn everything you can about people. Okay, and when I say that, I mean everything from their name to building relationships with people. I always say that understanding people, because you're always going to deal with people, whether it's with a child or whether it's with an adult or whatever, you're always surrounded by people. No man's an island. And just understanding people helps you so much to be able to get anything that you want.
Yeah.
When you learn about people, you understand that if people like to hear their names repeated back to them, if you're trying to build a relationship, and you may have noticed this, if you're on the sales call and they say, "Good morning, am I speaking to Miss this person?" They keep repeating because it builds that familiarity quicker.
Yeah.
See, the sweetest sound to people is the sound of their own name.
Names. Yeah. Yeah.
So if you understand that, you can use that to your advantage. If you understand people, you can build relationships. You can put yourself in their shoes. You can understand your suppliers and build a better relationship. Oh, okay, I work with Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith really cares about tennis, and this is important to him. If I'm trying to explain to Mr. Smith why his goods are not going to be delivered on time, maybe using a tennis analogy will help me, because he understands tennis, and I can say, well, the rackets by this provider hasn't been, this understanding people to a level that other people won't. Relationship, a deep relationship with someone, and being able to have them onto your side than not. If you're talking to your boss and your boss, your boss is going through a divorce or whatever it is, and being able to understand where they're coming from and relate to them on their level will help you build a better relationship with them. You may decide then, I'm not going to bother them with this because it's not urgent business. Say, I know you're going through a lot right now. After this is all over, there's a couple of things I'd like to discuss, rather than going, when have you got time for me? I need to talk about my pay, talk about my business. And it's the same thing. There's an issue to be spoken about, but there's a way to do it that will get them on your side, and there's a way to do it where you sound like a pest. So learning about people, building relationships, again, key top skill that you'll need everywhere. Kids, even if you're dealing with your own kids or the kids of other people, elderly people, putting yourself in their position. And this is where I commend the nursing home staff for, understanding, okay, well, nobody's first choice is to come stay here and not spend their last days in their own house that they've built. So coming from a place of understanding, which I see most nurses do, and going, oh, well, but here's a couple of flowers to cheer you up, that are similar to the ones that were in your garden. I saw that in your picture. Just building that relationship, these little details that means the world to someone, makes a difference between I love this person or this person works here.
Yeah. Wow. Listeners, it's been a very, very wonderful edition of this Career 101. And today we're looking at 11 skills that are hard to learn, but very, very essential. You cannot do without it. If you really want to be successful or be counted, be standing and be counted, then you definitely need that. I try to note a lot of them, but somehow I think I've missed some of them. Now, if you are in the same shoes as I find myself, or the same situation, you know what you can do. You go back to the broadcast, okay? Whether it's on Facebook or YouTube or Periscope or all the other social media platforms that we are transmitting live on, go back there and you have that as well. But it's going to be ready on our podcast in the next 5-10 minutes. It should be ready there as well. Go there and have a real listen, because I always say it and I'll continue to say it. In the midst of abundance of water, it takes only the fool to be thirsty. So the resource is there for you. Why don't you take advantage of it? But I was trying to get Linda some of the books that she's written that has got all that she said, packaged in a way there for you as well. But she's here herself and she's going to be telling you more about that and how you can also contact her. Over to you, Linda.
Fantastic. If you're interested in really developing yourself and moving to the next level of your success, whatever that is for you, whether it's going from 0 to 1, or 9 to 10, definitely get in touch with me. As Archie was saying, that I have my books that have come out. They're called the Career Series, so the career books. And this shows you step by step how you can improve your career. So we have the first book, which is How to Career, and it takes you on how to build a career, how to choose a career, how to even navigate between the voices in your head, whatever your parents are telling you, whatever society is telling you to go into as a career, and also and what is really in your heart that you'll be really successful at. So that is the book one, How to Career. Book two tells you how to excel at that career once you've discovered what career path is your natural path to wealth. So book two is highly recommended to anyone, everyone who's looking for a promotion, looking to build a name for themselves, have just started a business and looking to improve it, raise their profile, advance their career success is for you. And then of course we've got the career workbook, which is a practical book. It's a workbook, as the name suggests, and it will give you prompts on any area of your career success, what you're missing and what you need to be looking at. So you can find all of these career books on Amazon, amazon.co.uk, amazon.com, Amazon around the world. Type in Linda Pallien Career and it will come up. They're about $20 each. Book two, if you're confused of which book to buy, start with book two. Book two is a summary of it all, and it honestly is the best value for money in any career book. And in my years of teaching career advancement, I've seen a lot of material, and this book has everything in it. So definitely look into it. And if you want to work one-to-one as well, you can contact me, lindapallien.com, and there's a calendar there to book a chat with me. I'll be happy to chat with you, even if it's just to discuss your problem, have a one-off session to see how we can help you move forward with your career goals.
Wow. Okay. That has been HRH Linda Pallien for you on Career 101. And today, as we said, 11 skills that are hard to learn but pays. Adejoke Olani Obadara, let me say Equator to you too, and thank you very much for joining us as well. So listeners, this one I'm going to bring the program to a close for today. Tomorrow, God willing, I'm going to bring you another edition of the morning show. I'll be having Mr. Olayomi Koiki once again, and we're going to be looking at everything that you need to know when it comes to the morning show once again. But remember, this afternoon the DJs are taking over more music and less talk. But I signed up this program with this song from Mika Pirates, and it says a change is gonna come. So some way somehow keep on holding on, because a change some way somehow that's come, and it's going to come your way as well. Enjoy it. It's been me, Archie, saying have a top of the day, and from all the production team I say kudos and we salute you. Bye bye for now.
Thanks for listening.
I was born.
Thanks for listening.
By the river.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Oh, just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gon' come. Oh yes it will. It's been too hard living.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Cause I don't know what's out there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gon' come. Oh yes it will. I go to the movie and
Somebody keep telling me don't hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gon' come. Oh, yes it will. Then I go to my brother and I say, brother, help me please. But he winds up knocking me back down on my knees. There've been times that I thought I couldn't last for long, but now I think I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gon' come. Oh yes, it will.
Are you cleaning up owning your own house in Ghana?
Yes, it will.
I highly recommend